Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week in Mount Airy, North Carolina, when a body is found, posed, and with the hands cut off, the mystery is finally solved by finding a very bad man who has a lot to say. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us this week. We are excited as usual. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a wild story ahead of you, or ahead for you. Quickly, an announcement right off the bat. February 12th, is it, Jimmy?
10th.
Yes, 10th. I am way off. February the 10th, we are doing a virtual live show where our tour is kind of off until March now, which is actually good. We're supposed to be in Nashville this week. Turns out I have COVID, so that would be bad, and I wouldn't be in Nashville. I would be sick at home because I feel awful.
Anyway.
So, no, I feel pretty lousy, so here I am, and that wouldn't happen. So we're doing a virtual live show February the 10th. It's a Thursday night. It'll be available for 72 hours after that. Get your tickets at shutupandgivememurder.com or over at momenthouse.com/smalltownmurder.
There it is.
Either way. You can get them either way there. .com. Yeah. We'll be whatever. You'll find the damn thing. Yeah. So, we're very excited for that. We're going to have a wild show, of course, as you know, as we always do. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. So get those and get tickets for the rest of the year at shutupandgivememurder.com. Get all of your merchandise. Also, listen to Crime and Sports if you haven't listened to it.
Man,
have we been cooking over there. Check it out. Telling you, you don't have to care about sports at all. You have to care about us making fun of morons, and that's what the show is, and it's a good time.
Specifically.
It's really wild. Check it out. Listen, trust us on that here. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all your bonus material. Yeah. So much bonus stuff. This week we have a couple that we're very proud to present. We're always proud, but this week they're especially good. And you get access to Crime and Sports and Small Town Murders bonus. First of all, we have for Crime and Sports, it's a year in sports crime. We're going to do 1995, everyone in sports who got arrested, and it's crazy how many people got arrested and for the kinds of crazy shit they got arrested for. So check that out. And then for Small Town Murders, we did John Benet Ramsey in the investigation. And you'll say, oh, I've heard that so many times. You haven't heard it like this. Trust us on this. Trust us when we tell you that we cover things slightly differently. We really focused on that ransom note and broke it down and talked a lot about it. Yeah. It's crazy. You need to hear it. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you can do that. And anybody $5 or above, you get access to everything under the sun. And you get a shout out at the end of the show because we appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. Shout out, and Jimmie will mispronounce your name. Also, you can review now, like we said. You can do Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're listening to. Also, now you can review on Spotify and Audible. You can do also.
Wow.
If you listen to audiobooks, if you have Audible, go in there, give us a review. It helps us out a ton. So please do that. Just jump on quick and do it. Thank you so much. Quick disclaimer. Very quickly, it's a comedy show.
It is.
This is a comedy show. We are comedians. The facts are completely real. We could not make this stuff up. Yeah. We'd be way more talented than we are if we could make up these stories. And every week like this, that would be Stephen King couldn't write 280 stories in a row like that, or 58 stories in a row.
Week after week?
So, yeah, it's all real, and it's all insane. We will say that. Well, there's things. Murder. There's murder, obviously. And there is comedy mixed in with the murder, which is weird. But what we do is we go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
We're assholes.
What?
But we're not scumbags. That's how it works there. So that sounds good to you. We have a wild story. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever go together, maybe we're not for you. Maybe we are, but you
might be.
It might not be what you think. Either way, don't complain later because you've been warned. So there is jokes and they're in there, but not like you think. There's nothing. You get it. So it's not that bad. That said, I think it's time to sit back, Jimmie. Let's clear the lungs and shout.
You should.
I have to give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmie.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
I would love it.
Oh, baby. We are going all the way to North Carolina. Here we are to Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Land of the tobacco.
Mount Airy, North Carolina. If you don't know, this is really all they talk about. It's all their website is. It's all they're all about. Mount Airy is the basis for Mayberry. The Andy Griffith Show. Yeah, Mayberry, even if you're, because like Mayberry is way before, Andy Griffith Show is well before our time. And also as like a Southern thing, it really wasn't on in New York. So I didn't grow up with the. No, it wasn't on fucking.
I watched the shit out of it as a kid.
Yeah, in Arizona, when my mom moved out there, I remember it was on TBS all the time. But TBS was like, I don't know if it wasn't part of our cable station or what.
Right?
I don't know what it was. And then, because we didn't get like Braves games or any of that shit. So I don't know what that was. But yeah, I never saw an episode of the Andy Griffith Show until I
too late.
Went to Arizona.
I watched it from age 4 to like, I don't know.
Yeah,
8 or 9?
I used to watch something at night in Phoenix when I was like a teenager. My mom, when I'd spend summers out there, and then when it was over, the Andy Griffith Show would start and I'd change the channel. So I know the theme song, but I've never actually seen an episode. It
would come on at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I would get out of school like right at 2, so I would literally run home to watch. I loved Andy Griffith.
Okay.
Loved it.
Well then, look at Jimmie.
I think it was the desire and want for a fucking father.
Was that it? You were like, wow, look at him. He
look
just
at him
shows
taking
up
fishing every fucking day.
Every episode, man. It's something you can count on. Andy's coming home at the end of the day. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
You were drawn to the father figure of Andy Griffith.
And I thought it was funny.
There you go. So this is in central North Carolina. It's like right by the Virginia border. It's kind of right on the border there. It's about an hour 40 down to Charlotte, about an hour 50 to Roanoke, Virginia, if you go the other way, and about 3 hours to Clinton, North Carolina, which was our last North Carolina episode way back, episode 204. So it's been over a year, and that was a crazy episode with a nice couple. There was a church involved. There's a lot of wild shit in that.
Was Andy Griffith filmed here?
No, this is just Andy Griffith. He's from here. So he based Mayberry on Mount Airy. So everything in this town, that's all they have. It's their whole identity is Mayberry.
That's
so this is in Surrey County. It's area code 336. They don't have a motto, but they have nicknames. Their one nickname is Granite City, which I've heard that for like 4 other towns. And then the other nickname is Mayberry. So,
Mayberry, USA.
Here you go. Motto would be all the black and white without so much black and white, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mostly white.
So, history of this town. It's settled in the 1750s, this town was, as a stagecoach stop in the road between Winston-Salem and Galax, Virginia. Ever heard of that?
What is how do you even spell that?
I don't know. Galax, which seems like
Galaxy
a sci-fi
without
movie.
The Y?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Galax 2012. Yeah, it's like a weird sci-fi movie from the 70s is what it sounds like.
Galax,
Virginia,
Galax.
Probably. It was named, Mount Airy, after a nearby plantation. Okay. So that was the name. It was incorporated back in 1885. So they began pretty much immediately. The granite quarry began large-scale production right away, and the first furniture factory began here in 1895. I think last week we had a town that was built on typewriters. This one's built on furniture and tobacco.
And granite, home improvement.
Home improvement, so you can smoke, fall asleep, burn your furniture down, and they have new furniture for you. It's a cycle that they're just putting up cycles. Yeah. Tobacco factories everywhere. Andy Griffith, born here, like we said, and it's they hold the annual Mayberry Days, which we'll talk about. In 2009, 50,000 people showed up for Mayberry Days.
What?
50,000. It was the show's 50th anniversary, and 50,000 people showed up for that shit. That is...
And they were all old as shit, or me.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because I'd be like, this is weird. Wait, they're so into it in this town here. But they estimate that brings in about $5 million a year as a result into the town.
Sure
it's the whole, they need it. Surviving cast members come. Otherwise, it'll be like so-and-so's kid is there, like waving. Hey, look, it's Floyd the Barber's kid. Hi. He's just a ne'er-do-well. He's got meth sniffles, and he just got out of the old pokey.
Opie's never showing up.
But
He's got
no.
way too much money.
He's very busy, Opie. He sends Clint. He sends Clint in his place. Clint Howard shows up. Hi, everybody. They're like, oh, God. He's hideous, but so talented. Yeah. So in 2012, Karen Knotts, Don Knotts' daughter, was there in place of Don Knotts. They just sent. I hope she's real goofy looking and makes the faces too and shit.
Yeah, I think Don was dead by then anyway.
Yeah,
right?
Don. That's why they sent the daughter. Yeah, Don Knotts was long
Don
dead.
would love to show up because he needs it.
In that town, they have several old school Ford Galaxy police cars painted up like Mayberry. You can take a ride in like it's a.
Is that why they drove Ford Galaxies? Because of Galax being nearby?
No, it's just what police cars were a lot back then. It's just a coincidence. It's a stagecoach ride stop between those two.
Okay.
Wow, you're really digging deep in there.
I'm trying so hard to find references to the place because of Andy, but nothing.
No, they even have a Floyd's Barber Shop there, obviously.
Do they?
Of course. Reviews of this town. There's a few of them here. 5 stars. This one, they love this town. Yeah. Mount Airy is a small town and everyone knows everyone. Sometimes things like drama can start quick and you might lose a couple of friends. Jesus. Nothing is better than, by the way, not than, the Friday night lights at Wallace Shelton Stadium. And the sound from the scoreboard will radiate throughout the whole town. Chili's after each football game is a must.
Oh.
Too many people go to cook out after. Oh, apparently. So you got to go to Chili's afterwards. That's where everybody lives here. Now, here's 2 stars. Not happy at all with Mayberry. Very upset. This is the drunk in there every morning.
Lets himself in.
Yeah. 2 stars. Crooked cops is the first sentence.
Okay.
Fucking Andy. God damn it. You keep track of Mr. Furley. Keep track of Mr. Furley, God damn you. What's wrong with
Clean the shit up.
Covered up overdoses on a regular basis, thievery on a regular basis, no locals eat on Main Street, food is no good and too expensive, nothing to entertain younger people, good retirement place, or it would be if they would wipe out the cops and such on drug dealers' payrolls. Apparently, these is just... how big can the police force be to be some of the cops are on payrolls? This isn't Serpico. What the fuck is happening? Welcome.
Covering up ODs, James? That doesn't seem like a priority to cover up.
Yeah, it seems like they're overdosing like crazy. Get us more of that shit you stick in them.
What would be the interest of that? Who would give a shit?
Last line, welcome to Mount Airy, where Andy Griffith hated it. Wow. That is wild. The crime rate is high here. Wait till we get to it. People in this town, 10,175. So small town.
Big.
Pretty big small town, but still pretty goddamn small. Way more females than males. 56% female, which is way out of whack. But it makes sense when you look at the age breakdown. The median age is older than normal, but there are 3 times as many people that are 85 and older than normal.
Yeah,
there's
really just embracing the Andy life.
Twice as many people 75 to 84. So
right?
Women outlive men generally, so you're going to get more women than men. That's how that works here. Less married people than usual, only because they've died. The widow rate is more than twice what it normally is, so that's why they're not currently married here. Single with no children, 12.1%. Good news if you want to party. Bad news is they're all like 86 years old, so it's like mingling at the VFW with some of that crowd. Race of this town, 80% white, 8.2% black, 0.3% Asian, and 10% Hispanic. So not a lot of, there's some
diversity.
Yeah, some. About 54% of the people here are religious, which is actually less than would have imagined for this area, but then you factor in the elderly people. I'm telling you, when people hit 75, they either really embrace that shit or they're like, get the fuck away from me with that. It's one of the two. They really go one or the other. 31% Baptist. As we know, the Baptists are the Catholics of the South, obviously. Not a lot. 0.6% Catholic. Not going to find much of that around here.
Wow.
0.1% Lutheran. There's a couple of Methodists and a Pentecostal here or there. 0.0% Jewish. And that's kind of goes without saying here. Didn't see a lot of Jewish people wandering around the Andy Griffith Show.
I don't think I ever heard the word schmeckel on any episode.
No, I don't think they were going down to the fishing hole and Ron Howard stopped and went, "Hi, Saul, I'll see you down at the..." That never happened.
See you down there when we go getting that gefilte fish out of the creek.
Never happened on that show. In this county, it's a pretty rural county too. Last election, 24% voted Democratic, 75% Republican, 1% Independent. Unemployment rate here is low. It's a little lower than the national average, but the household income also is hurting. It's $37,194 is the median household income, which is $20,000 less than the national average. Yeah. Cost of living's pretty low too, though. 100 is average. Yeah, 100 is average here at 76, so it's not that bad. Median home cost here is $127,400.
Man, that's cheap.
Less than half the national average, so that's very cheap. So if we've convinced you, goddammit,
you need Mayberry in your life.
You need to get your pole and head on down to the creek every morning.
We both need to work on our whistling skills.
Well, I'm smiling. We went over this on a previous episode. It is impossible to whistle when you're laughing.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
It's also impossible to whistle when I can barely do it.
I need to like calm and get into a thing, and then I can see. I need to.
It's not bad.
But
it's that pucker.
To have a pause and be like, okay, now.
I can't even do the pucker
flow.
whistle. I can't do it at all.
Oh, that's not good. Well, you know what? Maybe it would help if you moved to Mount Airy with the Mount Airy, North Carolina Real Estate Report. Okay, your average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $686, which is half the national average. Not bad. It's about in line with the housing costs. I found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's a trailer, I'm not going to lie. It's on over a quarter of an acre, so it's got a little bit of land. The trailer, the best way to describe it is it looks like it was pulled from the bottom of the ocean. It looks like it fell off a boat coming over here, and then they just pulled it off, 10 years or so, pulled it out, stuck it in the yard, put some plastic lawn chairs, because there's a lot of plastic lawn chairs in the yard. Not sure if they're included in the price of this place, but $35,000 for possibly a salvage trailer with a lot of plastic lawn furniture. $35,000 for that. Good luck. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's an actual house. It's attached to the ground. Okay. That's the positive.
Andy and Opie didn't catch it last week.
They didn't accidentally pull it from the river with a fly rod. This is listed as a, quote, handyman special. So you know it needs
some work.
A lot of help, Jimmy. Things are bad in here, man. There's some stuff it doesn't look structurally bad. Like there's no holes in the floor or the ceiling, but there is like... You need to change everything, like to the fucking studs on this house. There's a toilet that is a black toilet. Problem is, it's only black on the inside of the toilet. The rest of it's a white toilet. So I don't think it's supposed to be that color on the inside, but it's black. That's what it looks. Someone was shitting tar. I feel like that's the problem. That's the problem.
Christ.
Someone was shitting pure oil, motor oil. Not good. $99,900 for that. And you got to get ready to put some work into it. Knew everything. Then I found 5-bedroom, 2-bath. None of these have square footage, by the way. I don't know what the fuck is going on with these places not listing square footage, but it looks big.
It's got to be a strategy, right?
It's every listing, though. It's weird. It's just certain areas. It's like around here, we don't talk about how big the house is. You just walk around, look at it, and find out. God damn it. Lazy bastards. Got to know how big it is before you walk in there.
Who cares how many square? 5 bedrooms. That's how big it is.
It's a nice property. It's back. There's some trees by the road. Wallpaper everywhere.
Oh, no.
Connecting all through the house. Each floor has its own wallpaper that it's just the entire fucking house is that wallpaper.
What the fuck?
Live with it or pull it all down. It's going to be a lot. It all connects. $244,900 for that.
Yikes.
So it's a little rough.
Have you ever removed wallpaper?
It's terrible. It's a horrible thing to do. This would take you 6 months to get.
May as well just re-drywall.
It's fucked. Yeah. Just pull it down to the studs.
Yeah.
Things to do in this town. Not shockingly, it is Mayberry days.
Yeah.
I have to show you a picture. This is from the website.
Okay.
Here we go. There we go. It's Mount Airy bucket list, and it's got a picture of the old car.
There it is.
Visit Wally's service station. Get a photo in the Mayberry courthouse and jail, and top it off with a riding tour of the town in a Mayberry squad car. That's your bucket list.
You can get in the car and they'll take you around.
They'll drive you the fuck around the town. Yeah.
I kind of want to go.
I mean, I bet you do. That doesn't surprise me.
That sounds awesome.
And it doesn't, there's no siren. It just over and over again. It's like the ice cream truck.
And just scream woo.
Woo! Mayberry Days, this is from the website. Mayberry Days, registered trademark, by the way, is a festival for the whole family with activities and events for fans who long for the days when life was simple and the sheriff didn't carry a gun. Didn't have those pesky civil rights to worry about. Things like that. Enjoy a bottle of pop while playing checkers. Relax to music from many local bands playing the same songs that Andy grew up with and performed on the Andy Griffith Show. Did he do music on that show?
He did. Yeah, he was a decent little singer.
I have no idea about that.
I think the guitar was right behind his chair in the office.
Okay, well, good for him. There's that. Then there's the Mount Airy Bluegrass and Old Time Fiddlers Convention.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm fuck Mayberry days. I saw this. I was like, whoa. The sounds of sweet music will carry throughout the Blue Ridge Mountains from local, national, and international musicians. Oh, man, look at this.
What do you want to bet Billy Bob Thornton's played this?
I'm not sure. It doesn't even say what bands. It just says all bands perform at 7. I don't know what goes on there.
Whoever they are, they'll show up.
9:30 a.m. Bluegrass starts and old-time banjos. Imagine 9:30 a.m. someone's got a banjo going. It'd be like, ho! You need to calm that banjo down. It's early. There's a youth dance at 5:45.
Hate it.
I saw pictures. Everyone there is 100 years old. I don't know where these youths are coming. These are like the people who are like in their late 60s. They come out and they have a youth dance for them. Wow. And then there's an adult dance after the completion of the band competition. And it's whoever's the last to not break a hip they get a trophy. I feel like. Dance till you drop. Crime rate in this town. We are interested in, obviously, here. Property crime almost double.
Is that right?
They might have a drug problem of some sort here. I feel like
what happens when Andy dies, man.
They need to get their shit together. Almost double. God damn, that's rough. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime. That's high too. It's also high. It's about 15% high, not double, but it's fucking high.
James, Mayberry sucks.
Mayberry's a shithole, man. I'm telling you right now.
Mayberry's in trouble.
They're fucked. So now let's talk about a murder. Let's talk about a murder in Mayberry.
I would love that.
All right, here we go. We'll go back in time a bit here. We need to go back to 1978. God, I love late 70s crimes. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's...
The Andy Griffith Show is still thriving at this point.
Is it? No, it's off the air by 78, isn't it?
It's still thriving in syndication.
Oh, it was thriving
it's crushing.
It's probably still on in syndication. I don't have cable, but I bet TBS still plays it at some point.
Crushing.
Oh, yeah. This was Ted Turner based TBS on wrestling, Braves games, Andy Griffith. Wow. That was his big three, his triad that he based.
Money. Yeah.
That's what he based it on. He said, I can grow from there. Those are the three things I need. So to do this, we have to go back to July 25th, 1978. Oh, so it's a good time. Everybody's got some hair.
Yeah.
Good shit. The bushes just popping. Yes. Everybody. Yeah. This is a time of tight pants and big pubes, which is a weird time period. It really is.
That is a very strange. Yeah.
Everyone had a big puff down there.
Everybody's got them tight again. But at least you don't have just that. It's an extra bulge. You know?
Oh, it was. You had like there's your pube bulge and there's your nutsack. You had like these two.
You had to catch those in the zipper. Even even if you wear a buffer, it's still getting through.
In 78, too. Who needs underwear? 78. You didn't know underwear needed. I mean, John Travolta's like the most famous man in the fucking world right now. Do we really need underwear? It's a weird time. Who cares? It's very strange. Yeah. So, very, very strange. Murder is going on here, though. On July 25th, 1978, in a rural area of Mount Airy. This is kind of not on Main Street, not right outside the barber shop or anything like that. There's a discovery of something horrific. There's some branches and trees and, kind of leaves and shit like that on top of what looks to be, or what turns out to be, a body here. It's in a gully near a dirt road.
A gully?
A gully. So this is like Ron Howard and Andy Griffith are walking by with their fishing pole on the way to the hole, and they're like, "What's in there, Pa?" And he's like, I don't know. What's the kid's Opie? I don't know, Opie. And he like walks over. Oh, Jesus. It's a horribly...
fishing today is what that is.
It's a horribly mutilated corpse. Well, he'll still be there when we're done. I hear the catfish are biting. And then they walk on down. Not like he's not going to be dead when we get back, right?
Doesn't seem urgent any longer.
You alive, buddy? No? Yeah, we'll get him on the way back. He's dead. I think he'd been dead a while, probably, so they're going to go ahead and find that. This is, like we said, close to the Virginia border. Body is covered in branches, already decomposed pretty good. It's July in North Carolina, so if you find any body outside and it's been there more than a few hours, it's going to have some decomposition happening. The identification is difficult based on that, and the way the body is placed, it's clearly on purpose. This isn't nobody like threw this body out of a moving car. This body, there is debris on top of the body in terms of leaves and twigs and things. It's obviously the surface is being covered. There's no hole.
Concealing it. Yeah.
They were like, well, there's a gully. I'll put some leaves on it. No one will see it. The body itself is on his back. It's a male, it appears to be. On his back, arms are out, spread like a crucifixion, legs together, arms outspread like a cross. That's how the body is placed. So looks very on purpose. Nobody, dies in a gully like that usually, especially with the feet together. The other thing, gunshot wound right in the forehead, between the eyes. I mean, it doesn't look, not a hunting accident. This is right between the eyes. And then I would say the strangest thing of all, the hands are cut off, like above the wrist. Yeah. So hands gone, no hands. Yikes. And it's a chopped off. It's not like they weren't like gnawed off by animals and taken away or anything like that.
It's clean.
It's a clean cut. So this is definitely not a suicide. Obviously, this is there's somebody doing this very much on purpose and maybe not wanting. It's weird because the hands are cut off, which is what people sometimes do to thwart identity, but the head's still there, so there's dental records, and the body wasn't in a place where nobody would find it. Yeah. I could see we'll conceal it and then just in case we'll take the hands or whatever, but this is like I'll leave it on the side of the road and just take the hands. This is they're looking at the hands as like this isn't a against identification.
Right.
Exactly. This is a message of this person maybe a thief or something along that nature, that they use their hands a little bit, got a little handsy at some point with something. So they don't know what's going on, but the hands are cut off. There is the investigation, they talked to one guy right off the bat because he was the last guy to be seen with this young man. Once we find out who this young man is, we'll talk about it. But Dennis Walden Stockton they end up talking to. Now, the body belongs to an 18-year-old young man that we were. Yeah, the body is a guy named Kenneth Arndt. Arndt? How the hell do you say that?
A-R-N-D-T?
I'm sorry, Arnder. A-R-N-D-E-R. Arnder. Okay. Arnder. Kenneth Wayne Arnder is his name. He's 18 years old, we discover. He's wearing jeans, very much late 70s. He's wearing jeans and what's described as a shirt that I can never find out exactly what shirt he had, but they keep describing it as a humorous shirt, a humorous drug reference shirt. So he's got like a ass grass or gas fucking shirt on or something, like some kind of 70s,
or have a nice day with the smiley face, but the eyes are
he's stoned and he's got like a joint hanging out of his mouth so one of those 70s humorous.
I like it already.
Drug slogan kids.
He's a fun kid.
He's a fun kid. Yeah, if I was in 1978 a teenager, he sounds like somebody I'd be hanging out with. So I like the kid right away. So they end up talking, the police do, to a man named Dennis Walden Stockton. Dennis Stockton is his name. He's 38 years old at this point. So that's
20 years older?
20 years older. He's had quite the checkered past, let's just say. He spent, this is out of a court document, quote, he spent most of his adult life in prison, work camp, or jail.
Oh.
One of the three. That's where pretty much
they're
since
all
16.
The same, aren't they?
It's really parsing at that point, isn't it? You're getting picky. It's semantics, really, when we're talking prison, work camp, or jail. I mean, sentenced, he's a halfway program. Either way, in custody of some kind.
Half of his life?
over is pretty much his whole adult life. He's in and out. He's in and out. When he's out for a few months and he's back in. He's never like, oh, he's doing well now. Dennis is doing great. Last time I saw him, he was assistant manager down at the whatever the shit down at the Mayberry fucking diner there, and none of that happens. He's just a disaster, this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
His first stint in jail came when he was 16 and he was locked up for passing bad checks.
At 16?
At 16.
He thought I guess, that was a time you could just write a check, though.
Oh, in the 70s. No, but at 16, you'd have to okay, when I was 16, I assumed everyone was suspicious of everything I did. Yeah. I wouldn't think.
When he was 16, it was 1966, so he doesn't fucking care.
1956, Jimmy.
Oh, my God, you're
1956. He's like, hold on, I got to write this check quick because I got to get home and see Elvis on TV. That's what he said. Like,
I can't believe
he's born in 1940.
Yeah,
he's born in 1940. So this is 1956. He's sent to prison here. His parents, originally in his first stint in jail, not his prison lockup, but his first stint in jail, his parents let him stay in jail over a weekend to teach him a lesson. This is like we talked about the smoking in the closet.
Right.
And he was like, "This is great! Wow, they give you
another
food."
One of those.
Well, they teach him a lesson. The problem is, even if he loved it, I doubt he loved this. He was sexually assaulted by a guard at that point.
Oh, Jesus!
As a teenager, so that kind of so you can imagine that's he's already on a bad path, and that's not going to help any.
Whole movie Sleepers was built on that. Jesus Christ.
Pretty much that, yeah. When he's 17 is when he gets sentenced for the bad checks, and he's sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison for 2 counts of passing bad checks in his parents' name.
What?
That seems steep for passing checks in your parents' name.
As a 16-year-old? Fuck yeah, that's steep.
That seems like as long as somebody pays back whoever the fuck he wrote the checks to for the merchandise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you put them on
probation, let's move along.
Yeah, the parents, otherwise that's an internal problem, and you take your kid home. It's 1956, you take him home and you beat him with a belt. That's how people would have dealt with that in the 50s, you know? Yeah. And the kid go, oof, man, yeah, Dad, the old man put one on me today. I deserved it, though, man. Yeah, I got busted passing bad checks. But
I wrote a check for $19, and they gave me 5 years.
It was $19 worth of hair grease, and they gave me. That's all it was. It's hard to keep our hairs up like that now.
They didn't even have Dapper Dan.
All that damn pompadour. It's too much. Drive a young man to steal. That's what happens. Those damn pressures of the modern hairstyles are driving a young man to steal.
That grease they put in it was so gross.
Oh, it's just this shit. It was like the stuff if you're in a garage and you get grease on you, you know the shit that you wash your hands with that you scoop out? That's what it looked like. If you could confuse the two, it's the same thing. They just put it in your hair. That's gross. Imagine putting that in every day.
No.
That can't be good for your follicles, right?
No, of course not. How did you not have a bad scalp forever because of that?
Well, maybe it was like moisturizing though. It was grease, so maybe
You'd think that it would stop your skin from producing anything moisturizing though.
You would think so.
If we got an abundance up there.
It's been slathered in grease for years.
We're covered for the rest of our life.
No shit. Yeah, maybe that's possible. So. Anyway, either way, he's in prison with his greasy head. Mm-hmm. And when he comes home, and his parents said when he was 17, he went to jail as a kid, as a teenager. Yeah. When he comes home from adult prison after 3 years at 20.
I'm sure he's the same.
Just a sweet kid, yeah. Real nice kid, just wants to...
Seems real humble and like he learned a lesson. I'm sure that's what it is.
He said he was a hardened adult at that point. Right. That's all. He got a lot of good crime lessons and
couple tattoos.
Actually, yes, he did. Yeah. That's the other thing. They make a big deal, by the way, out of him having a tattoo because in the 60s, unless you just got out of the Navy, or prison, or the Hells Angels, those are the people who had tattoos. No one else had tattoos. That was it. You're either a criminal or in the Navy, which was the only acceptable way to have tattoos was if they were naval tattoos.
Yeah. Today you got $200 extra out of your tax return, and you're like, what do I spend it on?
Yeah, a terrible tattoo.
Right. Something I'm going to regret in a minute.
Something I'm going to regret in a minute. Except if you get tattoos of our show, which is never a bad idea. We enjoy that a lot.
P.S. I have shitloads of tattoos.
Yeah, well, obviously you do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So either way, he's 20. He's got a tattoo. Uh-huh. He's completely a different guy now. Yeah. I mean, his parents are freaked out by it. Now, he spent his early years before all this criminal behavior in Shelby, North Carolina, which is a different place here. He said his parents had a small rented house near. There was cotton mills there. He did it very well in school back then. Yeah. From all accounts, he's got a very high IQ. Everybody says Dennis Stockton has a high IQ. They say somewhere between 130 and 160 is what it was. What his side says, but then it could be lower. But everybody says he's very, very smart. Either way, very, very smart guy, intelligent.
You'd think a guy with that high of an IQ wouldn't try to pass his parents' checks.
We think he would come up with a better scheme there, but I don't know. Most of the kids at 16 back then probably didn't think of it at all. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was a little too smart for his own good.
Crazy, he had that idea. That was genius.
A little too smart for your own good there, Chief. Yeah. He loves baseball, big baseball player, big-time baseball, loves that. He'll claim to be scouted. He claims that he was scouted by the Yankees while in prison.
Really?
Which I would believe if Billy Martin was the manager later on because he got Ron LaFleur out of prison, but that's a Crime and Sports thing. You can hear that on Crime and Sports, but not here. Like this, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. The 50s, okay, the Yankees were overloaded with talent. Like I can't imagine them, being like, there's this, Jesus
There's this
Christ.
fuck up down in North Carolina. He writes bad checks. Let's go take a look at him.
There's this Mantle kid down there in Oklahoma. I hear he's got all this power and speed. Check him out on the farm. He's been doing everything right. On your way back, stop by North Carolina. There's a ne'er-do-well fuck-up who writes bad checks in his parents' name. I hear he's got a cannon out in left field. You want to check him out maybe for me as well?
You'll know him. He has a sweet tattoo on his forearm.
Yeah, he's the only guy out there with a tat. So it wasn't. I'm not buying that. They didn't need to look in prisons for talent back then, the Yankees, I don't think. Just because they were winning all the time and their farm system was overloaded with talented players. I'm not sure. Maybe, though.
It's also probably an easy lie to tell.
Yes.
Just to sell a story.
I got a 160 IQ and the Yankees scouted me, so I'm smart and athletic. Look at me.
Put this in your mouth.
Yes. Well, or I couldn't have done terrible things because I'm such an accomplished person. Now put this in your mouth. Right. I'm also innocent, mind you.
Yes.
So when he was a child, his father was away in World War II. I mean, his dad was in World War II. He was born in 1940. So when he was a toddler, his dad went away and came back when he was already in first grade or whatever. Wow. So that's pretty crazy. He said when he returned, his father, much like he turned in prison, his father, completely different guy after World War II.
Crazy that would change a man.
Strange, right? Yeah. Real weird. It's one of those things you see back in the 50s and 60s if you watch Mad Men or anything like about the 50s, and all these guys are fucking drinking like monsters all the time in these 3 martini lunches back in the day and all this shit. And it's like they were all just saw horrible, terrible all of the guys, they all saw horrible, terrible things, and then just came home and they were like, just there you go, get a job and buy a Chevy and move to this, just there you go, have some kids,
have a couple of kids, be a normal person now. What?
There is no trauma if you win, Jimmy. That's the thing. Once you beat Hitler, the trauma of seeing your best friend's head canoed next to you by a fucking artillery shell.
It's all worth it.
It's all worth it, and you forget it all, and you feel great, and you go, and you take your kid fishing, and there's bodies in the gully,
now I got
and everything's great.
Forward.
Yeah. That's what's going on here. So
buy a new refrigerator.
Yeah. That's not talked about back then, but those guys had a lot of trauma too. They really did. All the people in service in World War II, that was hard fighting. They had a lot of shit going on. They just didn't. It just wasn't really brought up. I mean, it was one of those things. So,
and these are the two things that change men the most: prison and war. And both him and his father have been through it. They're not going to be normal people anymore.
No, it's impossible. So. He said when he got home, he was fucking had problems. His dad was abusive to him. He said, now Dennis says he would never, ever have gotten in trouble at all, ever, if his parents hadn't moved out of Shelby. That's the problem. When he was 12 years old, they left Shelby. Before that, good grades, nice kid, everything's going well. Dad beats him a little at home, but I mean, that's the 50s. What do you want? Right, yeah. So that's the late 40s. You put wrestling on the Dumont channel and you shut the fuck up and you do your business. So if you're a kid back then. So they moved from Shelby, North Carolina to Mount Airy, North Carolina when he was 12. That's how he ended up here. And he said that changed his entire life. Two things, prison and Mount Airy are very similar in his life. Like, seriously. And Hitler, prison, Mount Airy. Those 3 things have really changed him.
Trifecta fucking him up.
Yep, he moved there when he was 12. He says, and he explains it. He says, quote, in Shelby, you couldn't even buy liquor. Okay. There was I guess it was dry. He said they had a jail, but nobody was ever in it. The town had 10 or 15,000 people then. So he said that this was the real Mayberry. It was just nobody's even in the jail. You couldn't even get liquor. This was a real, everybody was perfect in Shelby, apparently, according to him. He says, though, he comes to Mount Airy, it's like, it's like Deadwood. It's Deadwood, babe. That's it. It's Dodge City over there. It's just brothels and there's a red light district, gunfire and brothels. It's crazy. Shit's on fire. Very cosmopolitan. Shit's on fire. Girls are flashing their tits, offering up $7. Want some ass? $7, like in Deadwood. And so, it's
it's a bad place for him.
Yeah. It's $5 and $7 is the price list if you've seen Deadwood. So he says, quote, the first day I went to school after we moved, He's 12, mind you. I went out for recess, and the guys wanted to smoke cigarettes in the restroom.
Hell yeah.
It's North Carolina, first of all, too. I mean, it's... Yeah. Smoking, I remember in North Carolina in the late 90s, smoking was just like, it was still encouraged. You could smoke everywhere and anywhere, and the cigarettes were like $1.60 a pack because they grew it there. So there was no taxes because it was from there. So there's no state taxes, which is the expensive part. Yeah. So it was like, oh, come on now. What are you, about 11, 12 years old? Well, you know what? Your boy's a little chunky. Have you got him on a pack of Luckies a day? Have you tried that? I feel like he could slim down. That's what they used to do back then.
Also, they could feel the clamps of society closing in that industry is about to start shrinking.
Yeah.
The campaigns on TV about...
This was before that.
Yeah.
This is but that started to come up.
In the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah, they knew. Oh, the 90s, they knew that shit. I mean, it was
going. Yeah,
there was federal anti-smoking campaigns that were with very well funded. 1952, it was smoking's good for you. There was on commercials, it would be a doctor going, "These are the best cigarettes for you, the best for your health," and they'd be literally, "These are the healthiest cigarettes you can smoke." That's what they used to show back then. They would. 4 out of 5 doctors smoke Camel. Remember that was an ad. Or 3 out of 4, whatever the fuck number it was. Amount of doctors smoke Camels because they're the smoother cigarette.
They hurt less.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was. It's crazy.
So funny.
So he said that the guys wanted to smoke cigarettes in the restroom. I thought that was awful.
Really?
He was, very against it. In Shelby, we don't do those sort of things in Shelby. He said, I found out in the summer what liquor was. Oh, no. It was nothing for a boy 12, 13, or 14 years old to take a drink. Well, yeah, that's a lot of places. It seemed like at that time I had to accept things like that or sort of be left out. I know if I had stayed in Shelby, North Carolina, I wouldn't have run into that. So... What? He has no willpower. If it's around, he's got to do it. But if he would have stayed, as long as he never encounters anything bad, he would have stayed away from it. So,
is that what he's saying? Is that he has to do it?
Yeah, he said I had to accept things like that or sort of be left out. So I had to drink and smoke too, or else I would have been left out. Yeah, those are called choices that you make. You can not do that and be left out if you want, and that's fine. And then you go on to other shit because you graduate high school and then you leave and you don't fucking ever talk to these people again. Who cares what they think? Right. It doesn't matter.
People hang out with people that have common interests at that stage in their life.
Yeah.
If you don't drink and smoke, you're a fucking dork. I don't want you around me because I'm 13.
If you're a drinker and a smoker. Yeah, exactly. So he said he had to do it, but he said, in Shelby that wouldn't have been there, so therefore he wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
But I mean, if one person was doing it, he would have had to do it too, but that's different.
The coolest guy you can hang out with is the guy that says, do what you want, I'll do what I want. We still hang out together. That's
fine. Yeah, that's good shit. But yeah, no, he has to go with the flow, and it's all about, you know how it was back then. Grease was the word, and you had to get your car ready to go down to Thunder Road and race for the titles, for racing for
non-filter hanging out of your face.
That was the only way to do it, Jimmy, with your hand goop in your hair. While some Australian broad takes her shoes off in a filthy fucking drainage ditch to watch you. You know how it works, Jimmy. The 50s was a crazy time. So, he played once he was 17. He was playing on a prison team, he said, in baseball, which I'll believe that. He liked baseball. But I don't think he played on school teams. It doesn't sound like. It never. So he went from being not playing at all to just being like a superstar in prison that the Yankees had to come take a look at.
Right.
It's a little bit weird. Instead of making it all the way to the Yankees and for the end of that dynasty run in the late 50s and all that shit, and maybe been there to watch Mantle and Maris race for 61.
Yeah.
Instead, he becomes heavily involved with drugs. Both using and dealing. And by the way, that's hard to do in the late 50s. You got to really seek drugs out in the late 50s.
Yeah, who was he? What was he doing? Was it like coke and stuff?
It was very underground. Whatever. I think he liked. He was selling possibly heroin because heroin was the big drug back then, and it was expensive. So yeah, you could make some money doing that. He was arrested for numerous things like safe cracking. We've all been arrested for safe cracking, right?
Wow.
When's your last safe cracking bust, Jimmy?
It's been a minute.
Early 2000s, I feel like you've been clean since then.
Probably 02.
Yeah, it's around when I was last busted
Weaned
for safe cracking.
myself off of it, really.
It's hard because it's, you know, once you got the ear for it, it's like it's free money. How do you not do it, you know?
And also that ear, it's very specific to just that. It's those little clicks. You got to listen.
It's the clicks. Yeah. You either have the gift or you don't, and if you have it, why waste it, is what I'm getting at.
You're the big one, you know, that's where it's at.
That's it. Also carrying a gun and committing arson by contract.
Oh.
Which means someone paid him to burn something down, which is fucking nuts.
I didn't know that was a thing.
If you wanted something burnt down, if you wanted something burned to the ground,
right,
and then there was someone was like, I know a guy who'll do it. That guy's crazy, the guy who'll do it, right? Who's the guy who's, will burn something down for money? That's not a normal guy that you... Right?
I knew he used to do it.
Absolutely.
But he wasn't
we all know that guy.
And shit. He'd just you throw him your keys and be like, I don't want to pay the car payment on this anymore.
Yeah.
He'd do that.
That's the equivalent here of they put it in a river or bury it in somebody's farm that they do here with a backhoe and give them like $500 and they'll bury your car. It's gone forever.
It's that.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. Arson by contract. Also, like I said, carrying a gun and other things too. He's got quite the track record here. Police, pretty much whenever there's a crime around town, he's the first guy they go talk to. They let's talk to Dennis first and see if he did it, and then we'll go from there. He's the guy, the primary guy in town.
Fire contract guy.
That probably did it, yeah. Oh, also shooting into an occupied structure was another.
Oh, don't do that.
Was another one of his crimes.
Oh, my God.
That's an escalation. Drugs, gun, safe cracking, arson by contract, shooting into occupied structures.
It's crazy that we put a kid in prison when he was 16. And he's turned into this?
Turned into the...
Amazing.
It's hard to tell what happened here because I feel like whether he went to prison or not, because bad checks wasn't the only thing he was doing.
Okay.
It's not like he's like, oh, I got to get baseball equipment for my Sandlot team and we got a big game, so I'm going to. He wasn't one of those.
For Louisville's?
No, you know what I'm saying? Like he was a scumbag and I feel like he would have gone that direction, but I don't think prison at 17 was at 16 really when he went to jail originally was probably the best idea for him, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not the judge who was looking at him, but it sounds like one of those things like we're going to teach this young man a lesson.
This ought to straighten you out.
You taught him a lesson, all right, how to safe crack and do other crimes and learned about drugs and shit.
We're going to teach you a lesson. You made him a journeyman.
You made him a journeyman criminal now. So
serving an apprenticeship behind bars.
By 1960, man, he's, say it's 62, 63. He's probably got his sleeves rolled up with his cigarettes in them and he's got a prison tattoo.
Yeah.
All of his idols are race car drivers. That's who he loves. I don't fucking know. Whoever was around in 19...
Richard Petty?
Nobody in particular. I don't know what the hell.
Probably Richard Petty.
Was he around in 1960?
Yeah.
Was he? I have no idea, but
he was
maybe him.
In the late 60s and early 70s, but definitely in the 60s.
There you go. So he idolized, and back then those guys were like, the race car drivers then, a lot of them were like actual moonshiners. So they were actually like, there was race car drivers that had criminal records of moonshining and stuff. So I think that they had more of like that outlaw image back then, and that's what he liked.
Richard Petty's car was painted Petty blue, James, and the blue, how they made the color was he had like 7 different colors of blue, and he just mixed them all together and then sprayed it over this car. So like, how did you get that color? He's like, fuck if I know.
Shit if I know. Can't reproduce it. I don't know. We're going to have to send it to a chemist or something.
What you do is you paint a Pinto this color, and then you keep what's left. Then you paint a Charger this color, keep what's left.
And so on and so forth.
And then clear coat that motherfucker.
Oh, man. So in addition to this, the tattoo, which was, like I said, a prison tat back then, was a very big statement. All this stuff is race car idolization. People said that at his house, he had, we don't know what part it was, a, quote, human body part.
Oh?
Preserved in a jar. He had just a piece of somebody in like a jar of formaldehyde that he just like kept it in as like a, like in Young Frankenstein. He's got a jar of like all the brain jars. It's the same type of thing. Kept it in his house as like a thing, as like a, for parties. And he said, because the cops asked him about it, they were like, hey, who's that a piece of? And he said that he got it from a biker gang that he knew. I got it from a biker gang. It's not even like I cut it off of somebody. It
was down payment on a barn. I got a torch.
I got it. They said, well, here, I'll give you Bill's leg. And we were like, oh, well, we negotiated down to the foot, basically, and here it is. He said that he only kept it to show off at parties. It was a good conversation starter. It's a conversation piece is basically what it is.
I don't want to have that conversation.
Jimmie, you put it out on the coffee table. People go, oh, man. And then you go, yeah, man, it's a foot. And then you talk about biker gangs. And then you know how it goes, Jimmie.
Eventually you start talking about Harleys. It's a great night.
Parties were different in the early 60s. You just don't understand. That's all. You just don't get it, man. You don't get it, man.
Such a L7 square.
You are a square. You are not hip in the slightest.
What a weenie.
You are just... Oof, man, this is sad stuff. You'd be outside the coffee house right now. No one would want anything to do with you. You're not hearing...
Looking out the window, shaking their head at me.
None of my poetry with my bongos involved in it. You're not hearing it. I won't let you. I'm keeping it to myself now. Kiss my ass.
He just kept it for fun?
Just kept it to show. It's a conversation starter. That's what it is. It's a centerpiece. It's, like an art. It's like art, but gross, So even the police officials described him at the time as intelligent but uneducated. Because he was
okay. I can see that.
That's what he is. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I have a GED, but I'm not the complete moron.
You can breathe and stuff, but I don't know shit.
He also he got arrested for forgery, breaking and entering, all sorts of stuff. This lasts all the way through from the early 60s or late 50s really when it starts, all the way up until the mid to late 70s. This is happening in and out of jail for this variety of charges, body parts in his house, and he's living a weird life, Jimmie. This is a strange,
I would say so,
strange life here. He insists that baseball was his route, and he's just sad that it didn't work out. He said, this is in the mid-70s, he said this, so he's about 35. He said, quote, if I hadn't gotten into trouble, I think I would be retired from playing professional baseball right now.
Probably.
Aren't you presumptuous? I can't imagine any life any better than living down by my grandfather's farm in Cleveland County, maybe coaching Little League or American Legion baseball. Yeah, come around all the kids. That's what you need. This is the guy we want around here. I've wished many times I'd had a son so I could teach him to play baseball. I'd just spoil him to death. If I had a daughter, it would be the same way. I'd give them anything they wanted. Any body parts and jars they desired, I'd give it to them. And if I couldn't afford it, damn it, I'd forge a check for it. Because it's going to happen. He's living a weird life here. Very, very much of a weird life. He always keeps diaries in jail, by the way, which is interesting. Okay, it's time to see this man, Jimmie.
Yes.
And everyone out there at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, you have got to see this guy's goddamn face because, okay, there it is.
Oh, what?
Is he a terrifying looking man or what?
That's a ghoul.
He looks like a ghoul. He looks like...
His eyes are sunken in.
They're dead. He looks like he could... If this was a horror movie, he wouldn't have to touch you. He'd be the guy that could just suck your soul out from across the room. If he saw you and locked eyes with you, like your soul would come out with like lightning and shit, and then your body would crumble and without the bones in it. That's what would happen.
In Goosebumps, the doll. He looks like the doll minus the tuxedo because that's prison garb. But
he's terrifying.
His face is it's just a very basic face. Very drawable.
Yeah,
you could draw that man's face.
But he's the guy you wouldn't, if you're a kid, you're not knocking on his door on Halloween.
Fuck no.
You're not. You're like, oh, that's the scary guy, and you run right by because he looks like there's no costume needed.
No.
So anyway, he's the man they want to talk to about the death of Kenneth Wayne Arnder.
And that guy's 38 at this time.
That guy's 38. Kenneth Wayne Arnder is 18.
Okay.
Now, Arnder, he's 18 years old, obviously. He is the second youngest of 6. Okay. So comes from a big family. His mom's name is Wilma Arnder. She works at a chicken plant inspecting. Yeah. Okay. Anytime we're in the South and there's just someone works at a chicken plant, Jimmie makes the same face. He's like, oh, God, you can just smell it. You can smell it. It's
death in the air.
Man. She works there. So hardworking lady. Her husband left her early, so she has been raising all 6 kids by herself, working at the chicken plant.
Chicken plant money is financing 6 children growing up.
6 kids. So
it's a lot of chicken plant.
It's a lot of chicken inspecting. You got to inspect a lot of chickens for that shit. So she's got all this going on, but she's holding it together. The family's a decent family. Now Kenny, he's a tall kid. He has long hair because it's the 70s. I mean, he's a 70s, like a pot smoker in the 70s, man. He's going to have fucking long hair.
Yeah.
He just is. You saw my dad in the 70s. He's, long hair. Thriving. So that's what he's doing. He's known as like a real easygoing guy. Like,
he's stoned.
Mr. Chill. He's all stoned. He's got cool T-shirts on.
Having a great time.
He's living life, man. He's doing well. He does fall in with, this is unbeknownst to his mom. His mom doesn't really know what he's up to outside the house. As back then, your kid went outside and that was it. They came home later or they didn't. There was no like, parents didn't know everything their kids were doing back then.
Right.
Going out, Mom. All right, bye. Who you going with? My friends. All right. That was it.
Yeah,
it was the 70s. It's not like now where you got to get everybody's fucking profile and okay, well, let me look. Hold on. Let me do a background check on their parents first and make sure. Oh, well, you just went out.
And it's so easy.
Yeah. He started falling in with kind of a shitty, they were saying kind of a rough crowd, kind of guys that are selling drugs here and there and stuff. A little bit more than just kind of typical bullshit teenager stonerism. You know what I mean? A little bit more than that.
But if you smoke weed at that point, you've got to know at least one unsavory dude. Otherwise, you don't get to smoke weed.
That's the thing. You have to have backups, even if the guy you get it from is cool. But what about if he doesn't have it one day? Right. Well, then you got to go to Plan B and Plan C, and then those people suck.
Yeah, or you can't find that guy, or he moves, or whatever.
Yeah,
the fuck.
He's out today.
Yeah,
but I think this dude has some. Yeah, or he's busted. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So he starts doing that. Sometimes, see, Kenny would like intermittently like live away from home for a couple weeks. I don't know if it's because there was a lot of kids in the house or because he just liked to go like kind of smoke weed and he had a chick out there. I don't know what he was up to, but he would kind of come back, but not a bad kid, never gets arrested or anything. And he's also, everybody says, real nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's an easygoing kind of cat. July 20th, 1978. Why the fuck, Dennis Stockton has talked about it all in this. On July 20th, 1978, Kenny Arnder, he calls Dennis Stockton on the phone. So Kenny initiates this. Calls Stockton. Stockton is at his home. Calls him up. Arnder asked if he would do him a big favor. He said, look, I need a big favor from you. He looked up to, this is the other fucking thing. When you're 18 years old and you're kind of a half-assed outlaw, because that's kind of where we both were too.
Yep.
When you're like that, these older scumbags are kind of like your not role models, but kind of like you look up to them, kind of. You know what I mean? That's the sad part.
They've gone the stretch of this life doing that, and they're still there doing it. So that's kind of my
And you assume they know stuff that you don't know about.
You wouldn't call it a hero as much as of a legend.
Not a hero. Yeah. He was kind of like, he looked up to him, is what his mom said. Kenny's mom said that Kenny looked up to him. Yeah. He admires him. And he asked him if he would drive, will you please, Dennis Stockton, drive me, Kenny, to Kibler Valley, Virginia, which is it's very close by, but it's a remote wooded area out there, kind of near the border still. And he said, look, I got to get out of town tonight. Somebody's looking for me. I'm real scared because this guy saw me stealing tires off his car. And he's kind of a bad dude, so I don't want him to find me. So don't steal tires off a bad guy's car, first of all, is a smart thing.
If you know them,
make sure you don't get caught, too.
Right.
That'd be the other one.
If you know the people, first thing, that's the first mistake. If you know them and you know that they're badder than you.
Dangerous, yeah. You're scared of them to the point where you need to run to a forest, yeah.
What the fuck were you thinking, Kenny?
That's the thing. Kenny's not making the best decisions here, but, that happens. So he said, look, I'm just going to go hang out in the woods tonight. There's a park out there. I'll sleep on a bench. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to get away so nobody can find me tonight, and then I'll work it all out tomorrow.
Yeah.
How's that say? How's that? So Wilma here, his mother, Wilma Arnder, she said that about 6 p.m., Dennis Stockton arrived at the house and came in the house, and she had seen him a few times before, so she knew of him. Yeah. Why are you hanging out with this 38-year-old fucking guy with prison tattoos would be my question. But, I mean, who knows? Who knows? So who knows what Kenny told his mom, too. So he said a little while later they left, and he told his mom that he was going to a picnic area in Kibler Valley to hide, quote, while things cooled off. Okay. So he told his mom, look, I stole some fucking wheels off this car. People are pissed at me. I got to go hang out in a picnic area for the night, so I'm going to do that. He now Stockton, while at the house, Dennis Stockton told the mom, I'm going to leave him there. I'll come home, and then I'll go get him in the morning and bring him back to you. Okay. So that's what we'll do, doing him a favor. So she was like, yeah, all right, have a good one. Thanks for driving my son to sleep in a park tonight.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Hope nobody kills him. Right. I got to work in the morning. There's a lot of chickens to be fucking looked at here. Right. Yeah, this woman's very busy. She's got 5 other kids is the other thing. So he's 18 years old, and he said he's going out to a park because he stole some wheels. Whatever. What's she going to do about it?
I got
yeah, that's what I mean. There's nothing you can do about it if the kid's 18, too. So they've known each other for months here, Kenny and Dennis. And he says he would drop him off. They leave at about 6 o'clock. But later on here, Stockton returns around midnight and to that house. He comes back to the Arnder house without Kenny and says there's a party going on at the house. So there was a bunch of people having a party.
At Kenny's house?
At Kenny's mom. Yeah, I don't know if Kenny's mom was. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but he said there was a party. Either way, the next morning, no word from anybody. Kenny doesn't come home on the morning of July 21st. And so finally, after a minute here, Wilma reports him missing. And says, he left the house with Dennis Stockton, was going to go drop him off here. People are mad at him about wheels. I don't know what's going on. So this goes on for a few days until finally July 25th is when he's found. So he was out there for 5 days. That explains in the mid-July heat and the humidity down there. That explains the decomposition. And like we said, placed like in the form of a cross, hands chopped off, bullet hole in the forehead. Now, after this, Dennis Stockton telephoned Wilma after he was reported missing and said, oh, what, he's missing? He read in the paper that Kenny was missing, and he's like, what's going on there? And then again, after the body was found, he called and went, oh, my God, that's terrible. Kenny was found dead? Oh, Jesus Christ, they must have got to him while he was at the park that night. Well, what a terrible tragedy. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on your fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Wilma said she suspected him of being the killer of Dennis right away because she was the last person to leave the house with, but she said that she couldn't imagine someone could be so cold-blooded that they could kill their friend that they've been friendly with, and somebody 18 years old like that.
And then call the mom twice about it.
Yeah, so she was iffy on the whole thing. They just keep describing a slogan joking about drugs is what he's wearing. A necklace with a white stone. Wonder if that was a roach clip. They used to have the white stones, or if it's like a white stone,
like a puka shell.
Like a puka shell, or if it's like one of those Grolschlager tops that you could put a joint in. Remember that was the big one, the stone Grolschlager.
I don't know that.
Grolschlager beer, the green beer. It's got like the top that pops off.
Oh yeah. With the
they're made out
on it.
They're made out of plastic now, but they used to be made out of stone, and they were the perfect you'd put a joint in, and it was the best roach clip. Yeah, it was great. You stick it in there, perfect. Yeah,
had no idea.
Those are a big thing. Jimmie should have smoked more weed. So anyway, that was the thing people used to do.
Plastic by the time I came around to James.
No, they switched them. I don't know because I didn't do that. That was something I heard about people doing from back in the 70s we used to do that. I never fucking was around. Was those I tried to find them when I worked at a beer distributor, and they'd bring back the empties. Whenever you'd find those, you'd be like, oh, cool. But they were mostly plastic. So anyway, He's wearing the same clothes that he was wearing when he left, necklace and everything, when he left the house. So they said they don't know whether he was killed by the gunshot wound or the severing of the hands. They're not sure.
Bled out.
He could have, yeah. They chopped his goddamn hands off above the wrist, so he could have very easily bled out and then got shot in the head, or vice versa. But they don't think this is where he was killed, number one, in this exact spot, and he's been out decomposing so long it's hard to tell at this point. So very difficult, and I don't know if medical technology was the same in 1978 as it is right now either.
Oh, you know.
So I would think not. So the mother, Kenny's mother, said, quote, Dennis called several times while Kenny was missing. The night Kenny's body was identified, Dennis called me again. I told him I was expecting a call from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. They were going to identify the body. Dennis asked me how. I said with dental records, and then he hung up abruptly and never called back again. This fucking moron didn't know that dental records were how you identify bodies. He chopped the hands off and thought, done deal. That's what he thought. It'll be too decomposed by the time anybody finds it. Hands are gone.
There's a guy that's never been to a dentist.
Nope. Well, he just didn't know that was a way that they identify people. Yeah. It was crazy. So he never called back again, Wilma said. She said, during the investigation, I was hoping they find out somebody else did it because Dennis was supposed to be Kenny's friend. Kenny must have trusted Dennis. It takes a cold-blooded killer to kill someone who thinks you're his friend. Yeah, like he thinks he's like in the mafia or something. Now, there is a theory here. There's a lot of rumors flying around. There's a bunch of 70s kids and drugs and stuff, so everybody's ends up being busted by the cops. The cops know who to talk to. They go, round up the long hairs and we'll talk to them all. So there's a rumor that Kenny purchased drugs, unknown quote-unquote drugs, from a guy named Tommy McBride in 1978. The cost of this package was $500, apparently. And I guess Kenny paid $125 upon receipt of said drugs and promised to pay the balance later. So he got it fronted to him. So
$375 is coming back at you once I unload this.
Once I unload it, whatever. It's called a front. Happens all the time, especially if you know people. Apparently, according to this rumor, the payment didn't come quickly. And so this McBride wanted to have him killed, wanted to have Kenny Ardner killed. He's like, this is crazy. I can't wait anymore for $375. I'm going to kill my friend, which is really, really hardcore.
That's a lot. That's a ruthless drug dealer.
That's a ruthless fucking, in Mayberry, mind you. Yeah. This is a Mayberry drug dealer. Ruthless.
What's up with nothing?
Nothing. I would say if you owe somebody $375 and they're going to kill you over it and you know them well enough for them to front you drugs, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If you owe a loan shark $375, they won't kill you. They want the money. All you had to do is put juice on them. You know what I mean? Just tell them, all right, $375. Now it's $400. Next week it's $450. Get me my fucking money. That's how you get your money back. Not like this.
I'll be back.
This is, not to kill him. So anyway, we'll go back to June of 1978 before all this murder happened here. Dennis Stockton was visiting the home of Tommy McBride. Okay, this is the whole information that the investigators have gotten. In addition to Dennis Stockton and Tommy McBride, now McBride, like we said, is the one who'll allegedly knock you off for $375. Yeah. There also is McBride's wife, Diane, a guy named Ronnie Tate, a woman named Sunshine Hatcher, and Randy Bowman is another one. Bowman is going to come up a lot later, so remember that name. Now, it's at this point that McBride offered, this is what they've heard, McBride offered Randy Bowman $1,500 to, quote, kill the Ardner boy.
He's going to pay $1,500 to lose $375?
To lose $375. That's why this story seems... I mean, I get PR in crime. Like, we're going to make a statement with this. Like in The Wire when they left Omar's boyfriend on the hood of the car all burnt up and tortured. That was a statement. They're making a statement. This is $1,500, though, to get $375. You're not John Gotti. This is... You don't need to make a statement. They're not going to start ripping you off on the construction unions if you don't make a stand here.
There are 10,000 people in this town. You're not making a statement to the other 999.99, however many it is.
No, you're really not. What you're doing is making a statement to the police because there's a very limited number of criminals in a small town like this.
Right.
So, yeah, and apparently upon hearing the offer, this is what everybody said, Dennis Stockton jumped in and said, "Oh, whoa, you got $1,500 up." He said, "I need the money more than him. I'll kill him. Fuck that." He goes, "I'll do it for $1,500. You don't need Randy Bowman. I'm the man." Fuck you talking about?
I've been in prison a lot.
Yeah, I'll do this shit. So apparently everybody said at that point, Dennis Stockton and McBride went into a bedroom and to talk it over. They were like, "All right, go come in the bedroom and we'll talk about it." Who does this in front of other people, by the way? Same people who have out a body part on the table to start a conversation when you're in this kind of gathering, I guess. So apparently, at that point, Randy Bowman left the house, and they said within a month or two, that's when Randy Bowman said that he read about Kenneth Ardner's murder in the newspaper, and he was like, "Oh shit, that was when I was there that night. That was my $1,500." So that's out the window. There's a guy named Ronnie Tate as well. Ronnie Tate was apparently with Dennis Stockton when Kenny Ardner was murdered.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, there's a witness here to this. Now, that would be very helpful later on, but there's a reason why we don't hear a lot from Ronnie Tate, and I'll tell you what that is. Dennis Stockton believed that Tate was talking about the murder, okay? So a guy named Robert Gates testifies that in July 1979, Dennis Stockton asked Robert Gates if Ronnie Tate had been, quote, running his mouth about the murder of Kenneth Ardner. Mm-hmm. So apparently Ronnie Tate had told Gates that he and Stockton killed Ardner, but Gates was like, "No, I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about that sort of thing." Yeah, he was not trying to, you don't want to get somebody, try not to cause static.
I don't want to admit that he told me, and then now I know something. I don't want him rubbing that guy out for talking about it, and then me for hearing about it.
And now I know about it. I don't want to know about it. So they were like, "All right, that's cool. No problem." So later on that same day, there's something that I guess happens often here. Dennis Stockton, Gates, and Ronnie Tate, the guy who was maybe running his mouth.
The mouth runner.
They all went to Camp Civitan in Forsyth County, North Carolina, to pick up 10 pounds of weed.
Okay. Wow.
So that's a lot back then. Yeah, that's a shitload of weed. It's a lot now. It's a lot of weed no matter what. But back then, that was a very illegal amount of weed.
Right.
You know, now it's whatever. But
trafficking, not even just like intent to distribute. That'll get you in a lot of trouble.
That's Jesus Christ. You go to prison forever for that back then. Now it's like, now in New York State, you're allowed to have 3 ounces of weed and like an ounce of concentrates. That's so much weed. Like, I'm not complaining. It's great, but it's to get rid of the ticky-tack fucking violations. But yeah, that's a lot of weed you're allowed to have.
3
back
ounces
then,
is a fuckload of weed.
Yeah, you can basically have a 1/4 pound of product there on you, just on you at all times.
So much weed.
It's a lot of weed.
It's a big bag.
It's a trunk. Yeah. Well, QP isn't a lot. A QP you can fit in the fucking.
It's the big bag.
Yeah, it's a gallon Ziploc bag, but especially now because the buds are nice, they're not all compressed, so it's going to be a little more than that. So anyway, they're picking up 10 pounds of, I assume, just dirt,
the shittiest
shit,
weed.
Brown, compressed,
grown in the holler.
Real nasty fucking dirt weed they're picking up here. So they're after arriving, though. Apparently, according to Gates, Dennis Stockton pulls out a .38 caliber pistol and points it at Tate, Ronnie Tate, and he starts accusing Ronnie Tate of, quote, running that damn mouth of yours. You've been running that goddamn mouth of yours, I've been hearing, and he's pointing a .38 at him. And, Ronnie Tate said, I don't know, I haven't told nobody about nothing, blah, 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 even though he had been talking. But still, he's like, I haven't been telling anybody about shit. I don't know what you're talking about. And he says, quote, I know you've been running your mouth about Kenny Ardner, and then shot him 3 times in the chest.
Holy shit.
Yeah, shot him 3 times in the fucking chest, and we'll find out what happened to him. But they got rid of the body and everything. It's crazy, man.
Oh, my.
Yeah. He'll leave for some reason, though. He's like, I'll kill this guy, but then I'm sure the Gates guy won't say anything to anybody. Like, he hasn't.
Yeah, this guy just saw it, too.
Have you not learned your lesson about killing people in front of other people? Like, it's probably not the smart way to do it. So
it sounds like a guy that goes to prison at 16 and doesn't learn his lesson.
That's something like that.
Yeah.
This will come back to haunt him later on big time, and I'm going to save it till then to tell you exactly how they got rid of the body. But yeah, shoots him through the chest 3 times to get rid of any loose end. So right, if you killed someone for, quote, running that damn mouth about that murder, right, I assume you did that first murder he was, quote, running his damn mouth about. Right?
I think so, yeah.
You must have if you're worried about it. Otherwise, you'd be like, run your damn mouth all you want. I didn't do shit. I got an alibi. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Not quite, though. So that was 1979. During all of this, the police questioned Dennis Stockton within days after the body was discovered of Kenny Ardner. Right. They questioned him because he was the last person that he was seen with. One investigator, Jay Gregory, an investigator with the Patrick County Sheriff's Department, said he'd been assigned to investigate it. He said that he had several conversations with Stockton. Stockton told this investigator that Kenneth Ardner, quote, was getting his drugs from Tommy McBride, and that McBride thought Ardner had stolen drugs from him and offered him money to kill Ardner. He said, of course I didn't take it, though. That's crazy. But, I mean, if you're looking for someone, he was offering money around, so that's the guy to talk to. Yeah. He said, but it wasn't me, obviously. He said that I told him absolutely not. And he said that Ronnie Tate and Bob Hirschberger told him they took the contract and did it. That's what he said. So it must have been those guys. Tate and Hirschberger had to be. He said that Stockton said that he got a gun. The gun that Tate used to kill Ardner he got from a trade with this Hirschberger guy. So they're all mixed up in the whole thing. Yeah. He then said that he knows what happened because he drove Hirschberger to the McBride house a short time after Ardner was murdered, and he said that Hirschberger came out with $1,000. Which he was payment for the murder, and Stockton said that $100 of it Hirschberger gave to him because Stockton provided him with a ride over there. So that ride is worth $100 in murder money. So you get 10%. You get an agent's cut of my murder fee for giving me a ride to collect the money. That seems high.
That's barely gas money.
Yeah, it seems high for just a ride. So Stockton was forthcoming with the police, showing them all the guns he had in his house. Oh, I have guns. Oh, yeah. Which I don't know how he's allowed to have guns because he's like a fucking 8-time felon.
Yeah.
He's arrested for shooting into an occupied structure. At that point, no more guns for you.
Right.
You're not allowed to have any anymore. You shot at
on account of
willy-nilly.
You could have hit anything.
Anything at all. Anybody. None. You don't get them anymore. Sorry. No. You're on the bad list, mister. So
on account of you don't know how to use it.
Exactly. He showed the cops the guns, but they were all different calibers in the murder weapons. So police gave a big shoulder shrug and they just went on back to town, took their kids fishing. Didn't fucking think another word about it there. They were just like, well, I guess that's that.
Ain't him.
Boy, he's got different guns. I mean, shit, nobody gets rid of a murder weapon, I'm sure. They usually put it right back in their case with the rest of them. So must not have done it. So they just took off. Meanwhile, there's all sorts of evidence showing that he admitted to multiple people that he killed this kid and that he made the admission on 3 separate occasions at least. Let's get into those. In early 1980, he went to Michael Tate's home looking for a guy named Michael Tate. He's related to Ronnie Tate. And when he was informed that Michael Tate wasn't home, Dennis Stockton became very angry and told her that, quote, he and Tate had cut off someone's hands in Kibler Valley and that he had ways of taking care of people. So he's like, listen here, I'm mad he's not home. He's supposed to be home, and because he's not, I'm going to tell you how I cut people's hands off and threaten people.
That's a fascinating way of saying, all right, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's
a fascinating way of saying, I'll try back later.
Yeah, try back later. I'll give a call maybe before I come next time. None of that. Just, I'll cut people's hands off. I'm not the man to fuck with. So 5 o'clock, you suck. I'll call try back around 5 o'clock. I have a good one now. Sorry about that. Did I wake up the kids yelling and screaming. Oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't mean to do that. Baby's crying. You go take care of that. I'll see you. He just walks on out to the car.
No, he's not here. I cut people's hands off.
I cut their hands off, goddammit, in Kibler Valley. So now the summer of 1980 is his next admission of something. Randy Bowman, remember him? Yeah. He saw Dennis Stockton at the Surrey County, North Carolina courthouse. Stockton was, of course, in a holding cell because, that's where he spends a lot of his time. Holding cells. The huge. Just in a holding cell downtown. Not very Mayberry. So he's in a holding cell with 3 or 4 other prisoners. Not even prison, just a holding cell in the jail, like where the drunk goes in Mayberry. So
voluntary.
Bowman overhears Stockton talking about the Kenny Ardner murder case and said that Stockton said, quote, he killed somebody and that somebody couldn't live with it, so then he had to go ahead and kill him too.
By his own account, he should shoot himself in the chest 3 times.
He's a fucking idiot.
He runs his mouth more than anybody else does.
Did I mention I got a 160 IQ and the Yankees wanted me? Yeah, because that's true too. This is... But he's in a holding cell, so as soon as he gets in there, he's like, I got to make myself a big man for all these prisoners and let them know how tough I am.
Just so y'all know, I cut hands off.
I kill everybody. I tell everyone about cutting hands off. And then for about 4 months in 1980, he was a cellmate with Ricky Williams, not the running back.
Oh, damn.
They were cellmates in the county jail. During that time, Stockton told this guy that he had killed Kenny Ardner because Ardner, quote, had ripped off somebody for some drugs, and that occurred in the Kibler Valley. Mm-hmm. Later on, he got in a fight with his cellmate Ricky Williams because he sounds like a real pleasant guy to hang around with. This fucking idiot Stockton. Yeah. They got in a fight. And at that point, Stockton told him that I cut off Ardner's hands and I'll do the same goddamn thing to you, is what he said. He threatened to cut his... So if you piss him off, his first go-to is, I will cut your hands off because I've murdered before. He'll tell anybody that.
Jesus Christ.
For the police, it seems like an easy interrogation. Just piss him off and wait till he threatens to cut your hands off, just like that goddamn Ardner kid, and then you charge him and take him away. That's it. A very easy interrogation.
You just walk in the room and tell him, I'll bet you don't cut hands off.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. I do, goddammit. I'll cut your hands off. So... there's rumors flying around between that and the jail and other people. Like I said, every time someone gets pulled over and popped with a fucking nickel bag of weed, they're like, I know a guy who killed a guy, and they start telling stories. So they have all these different tales weaving. Years go by, though. 4 years are passing in this.
What the fuck?
Years. I don't know if you watched the Andy Griffith Show. You said you did. Yeah. That wasn't a very aggressive investigation. No. I didn't see a lot of real aggressive investigations. It was just the two of them or whatever. I didn't see like a separate office where there was guys with paperwork, going, I'm working on the case. There's none of that going on. I didn't see.
It didn't seem like a real tight-lipped town either, James, but it also didn't seem like there was many cold cases around that town.
That's what I'm getting at. It seemed
like everything got zipped up pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think that TV is full of shit. It's weird. I'm starting to not believe anything about TV.
It seems like you put a man who's not real intimidating with those fucking googly eyes behind a gun, and he's not going to get shit done.
No, just not going to happen. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, it's weird. It's odd that Mr. Furley wouldn't crack the case. I find that strange. Because if I die, I want Don Knotts looking into it. That's who I want to really. I think he's going to beat down the right doors and get where I need to be. He'll avenge my death.
Buffoon in the show too, by the way.
On everything he's in. That's his whole character. He's a goofy looking dude.
Fucked everything up every day.
Funny fucking. I loved him on Three's Company.
He was amazing.
Oh man, when I was a kid, I'd watch the reruns of Three's Company on that night. Yeah. They were always in syndication, and god damn it, was he funny.
Even in animation, cartoon Don Knotts is incredible.
He is a cartoon. That's why. He is animation. Like, to animate him has got to be the easiest thing in the world because he's already done it for you.
It seems pointless at that point.
Yeah. He looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's why he's a funny man.
What was the movie where he was a fish? I forget.
Yeah.
What was that?
fish. I almost said a fish called Wanda, but it definitely wasn't that. It was just the first thing that came to my head. The fish that...
I forget the movie, but he was a goddamn fish. I think he turned into a fish.
The fish who raped me. The fish who... What's it called?
It's probably
the fish...
rape.
The... Octofishy, I don't remember
obviously.
It's I see him.
Fish movie.
Yeah, with that fish face.
The Incredible Mr. Limpet.
Limpet, there you go, Mr. Limpdick. Yeah, the Incredible Mr. Limpdick.
Incredible movie. Yeah, and
okay.
He was a fish, and it was ridiculous to animate it because James, he's a goddamn fish.
Hey, look, that's what I mean. He looks like it anyway. It works out perfect. He already looks like a fish. It's nice.
I love him. I absolutely love him.
So when they talk to Dennis again, he's like, "Oh, listen, Dennis, we've been hearing some stuff about that Kenny Ardner murder." He goes, "You're not the only one that's been hearing stuff. I've been hearing all sorts of rumors about it. I've been hearing left and right who did it." And they're like, "Well, did you tell us about it?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, no, I've just been hearing it. I didn't tell nobody about it. I mean, I'm a busy guy. I've been in jail in and out. There's a lot going on here." Checking his watch.
Contracts.
Yeah, lots of fire contracts, lots of things to do. So, they when he's in jail on and off, they'll talk to him in there. That's when the rumors always fire up because whenever he goes in jail, he tells everybody about it, and then they all go right to the cops trying to get time off their sentences and everything else like that. The police at one point took him to his house because he said, "I'll prove my innocence here. Watch this. Take me to my house." This is fucking amazing here. He believed he knew where the rumors were coming from. This is what he said. "Look, I know where the rumors are coming from, and I'll reveal some new stuff to you. Yes. You just got to take me to my house."
Okay.
From county jail. So they were like, "All right, why not? We'll bite." So they take this guy to his house in a fucking Ford Galaxy, I'm sure, where this is his proof, okay? He showed them letters from a, quote, prominent citizen. I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who could be so prominent as to clear you of murder with one letter, but you'd have to be pretty goddamn prominent to have the police go, "Here you go." You hand it over, and they go, "I'll take a look at that." And they unfold it, and they look at it, and they go, oh, wow, I didn't. We're sorry, actually. Yeah, no, we're going to get going now. We're really... No, this puts it all in perspective. We're really sorry about it. Here's your letter back. Good God. Jesus, we just feel like assholes right now, honestly. Not going to happen. So, prominent citizen who had written to Stockton offering him money to have a rival killed. Now, Stockton claimed he'd been given $2,000 with a promise of $3,000 more if he killed his rival. I don't know if this was a politician or some sort of thing like that. Stockton said he kept the money, but he never killed anyone. There. He also said he received another $1,000 and a letter asking him to kill someone else. Why would you send more money and ask for more death when the guy didn't even finish the first job and still has your money?
It's like ordering another pizza from a place that you didn't get the pizza from in the first place.
All right, fine. Give me another one. Here's my credit card number.
But I'm pissed.
I'm mad, though. This one better get here. I'm serious. Really hungry. This time. So he said, again, he kept the money but didn't do anything about it. He gave the letters to the police, saying that the author of the letters might just be the same one who's spreading rumors about me killing Kenny as a way of getting back at me for not carrying out the requested and paid for murders.
Yeah.
Duh. Don't you guys know anything? This is proof. Bye, Slam.
Let me out.
He said, this is proof positive that I didn't do it. The fact that I'm accepting other hits is proof positive that I didn't fucking do the first hit.
No, I'm guilty of conspiracy, not murder.
Yeah, several times, but that's a completely different story. Yeah. Completely different. I'm conspiracy to commit murder.
Conspiracy and murder for hire, not murder.
Yeah. God, you fucking guys, you just don't get it.
Do I have to do your job for you?
Jesus. You know what, Officer Furley, I think really, can I talk to Andy Griffith then? Because I don't think you're very good at this.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name was on the show.
Who, Andy?
Furley.
Was it, what the fuck? It's
nuts.
God damn it. It's the one that everybody makes fun. It's the fucking old trope. God damn it.
Was Andy Griffith Andy Griffith?
Yes. Wait, okay, no, his real name's not Andy Griffith, is it?
In the show, what was his name in the show?
Andy.
What was his character's? Andy what? Griffith?
Not Griffith. Was it Griffith?
Barney Fife, by the way, is what you're thinking. Barney Fife is he's a real Barney Fife. Yeah. So
Andy Taylor. Opie Taylor.
Opie and Andy Taylor. There you go. So, anyway.
It was definitely Andy. I know that because I can see Don Knotts saying, Andy!
Andy! Yes. So, this obviously clears it all up with the letters, right? I mean, that's done and done. Done and done here. By the way, these letters, which purport to further murder conspiracies and would be helpful. The police lost them.
What?
They took the letters. They never found them again. They're lost in evidence somewhere. They lost these letters that are this is crazy. How do you lose this? How do you lose these?
Exonerate a man. That's some evidence you need.
So, even if it doesn't exonerate him, it definitely inculpates other people. Yeah. Who wrote this letter? They're offering, how many other letters is he writing to people? Is he having people killed? This seems like something we should look into. We lost the letters, though. Fuck it. This is some fife action big time here. So, they're fifing, I would call it. That's the verb of being a Barney Fife.
Doing a whole bunch of fifing around this town.
Just fifing it all up. You fifed this thing all up, man. This investigation's mad fifed up. It's just fifed up. So they bury Kenneth Ardner, by the way. Once they bury Kenneth Ardner, he's got a tombstone with an angel. Yeah. And the angel's like, those ones with the outstretched kind of hands there. He's got that. Someone broke the hands off the stone angel, just like it happened to Kenny.
Oh, that's mad, and that's not good. That's
no. Presumably,
they came back after he's dead and defaced his fucking headstone the same way he's dead.
Defaced his headstone.
Wow.
All of that allegedly is over $375.
That's no.
You paid 4 times as much to have him killed. Then once he's in the ground, desecrated his fucking gravestone over 300. I'll show that motherfucker. Now he knows.
Crazy.
Now people not to steal an ounce of weed from me. Like, wow, that is crazy. The family repaired the damage because it's their son. So the hands were knocked off again.
They keep coming.
They keep doing it. So finally, they had to get rid of the angel. They had to get rid of his gravestone because they couldn't stop it from being desecrated.
That's unbelievable.
They should have just put like a rebar in it, like a little iron piece or something. And
just reinforce the hands.
Yeah, reinforce them on, I don't know, something.
Make them out of titanium.
Instead, they just had a flat stone carved with praying hands in the back of a little thing there. Yeah. They just did it. They had to do it. They had to do a regular stone because people just kept breaking the hands off of this thing. So we don't know if that could be anybody, but they send a lot of times they'll put flowers down. The flowers get taken. But they said that for some reason in that graveyard, flower theft is a big thing.
But that's not really. They clean those up too, though.
They do. Some people just take them and move them to their relatives which is like,
fuck. I'm a cheap fuck. I forgot to bring them. Here, I'll use these ones. They don't know.
Well, who are you trying to impress? That's my. So you're gonna desecrate a grave, commit a crime to try to impress a corpse? Like, what are you doing? Think about the mental. Think about the thought process behind that. Think before you do things.
But people do that. They'll take a balloon off a grave and put it on their get well soon or some shit.
Grandma took a fucking duck from the pond. I mean, what's the difference, I guess?
Here's some daisies that used to belong to that person.
Oh, my God. Her and her. She would pilfer on it. She stole fucking body of Christ and everything from the church the one day. I ever tell you about that?
That's given to you anyway. Did she take like the bag of it?
No. She stole like the whole thing that you break up, like the whole giant one.
Oh, the big wafer.
I didn't tell you about that, did I? No. This was Easter a few years ago. We go over her house for Easter. Italians, Easter's a big deal in Italy.
She did it in her 90s?
She was at least 89 years old, 88 maybe. She's still pretty mobile, but
they saw her do it and just let her do it.
And Eastern Italy, big deal. You go around, you have to like give old people or older people, relatives, you got to give them plants.
Yeah.
Not flowers, because flowers are dead and cut out of the ground. Plants live, so that means you'll be alive later to care for this plant. So that's what you're doing.
Now you have to be here.
Now you got to be here. So they give each other like baked goods and shit. It's a big deal in Easter. They go around with bread and like these little villages when my grandmother grew up.
Water this shit.
Got to go over there on Easter. I go over, I see her handing out something. She's handing people shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She comes over me and she goes, here. And in my hand, like she's handing me like it's a drug deal or something. Right. And I go up and I go, what the fuck is this? It's a little torn off piece of...
What is it, Xanax?
I go, what is that? Grandma, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm a body of Christ. I said, wait a sec, Grandma. I said, where the fuck, where'd you get that? She goes, from the church. I said, they gave you that? She goes, I took it. I said, Grandma, you are missing the whole, you can't do, what do they care? I'm not fucking going, blah, blah, blah. She starts yelling about that, handing it out to me. I'm like, I'm not taking your pilfered body of Christ. Fuck off. This is crazy. What are you doing? You can't do that. I do what I want. No, she blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're just handing, you're not a priest. Like, what are you doing? You can't just be slinging fucking body of Christ around the kitchen like you're
funny.
It's crazy is what it is. I had to go outside. I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. She had to do it. The funeral was her last. She likes attention, Grandma, always.
Does.
And her last act of attention was to have us spread a disease throughout amongst ourselves during the funeral. The one unavoidable thing I could not do was be a pall. I'm a fucking pallbearer. I have to be there. Like, there's no way out of it. So
she tried to take you all with her.
She's like, Ma, maybe you come with me in the ground. Ma, it's not bad. Ma, come on. It's okay. Ma, you come. Ma, here, take this first. The body of Christ. Here, take. Grandma.
Yeah, in her will. What do you want to take with you? I like to be buried with my handsome grandson, Jimmie.
Ma, tell him to jump inside. Goddamn funeral, entire Catholic mass, Jimmie. A whole thing. I'm like this. Kneel, sit, stand, kneel, stand. Holy shit. It's like old school, too. There's no like, hey, we're going to make it enjoyable for people. Nope. It's you sit in church and you hear about shit and just sit there.
I lost my grandma brutal, and man. You're going to torture me? What the fuck?
It was fucking brutal. And then they got COVID, too. So I'm like, this is just great. This is just, I'm having a terrible few weeks, man. It's really just,
one last time.
Dude, things are really going rough the last few weeks, I gotta say. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us and doing all this shit. Tell your friends, by the way. We don't say it often enough, but tell your friends about the show. Spread the show. Yeah. We're an organic spreading type of show, so please do. Tell your friends, spread it like COVID.
Like COVID.
Spread it. Seriously. If the show spread as easily as COVID, we'd be fucking doing much better, so that'd be great. Fuck it, man. Yeah, so anyway, he's in the grave. Okay, there we go. Anyway, he said this is the mother, Wilma. She said she rarely visits the grave anymore because she's scared to see if anything else is done to it at this point. Yeah, because she said,
I can't imagine.
Later on, she said, the last time I returned to the grave was 4 or 5 years ago. Sometimes I watch the late movies on TV, how people go to cemeteries all the time. I think maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, but I just can't do it. I can't go to that grave. Yeah. That's a personal choice of how you like to deal with your grief, and if it makes it worse every time you go. Some people, it comforts them to go. Yeah. Never know. It's one of those deals.
Yeah, some people, it's the last place they saw them, so they just go there. They're drawn to it, and that's where the body is. And
they sometimes they feel like they're communicating with them if they go there. Like I feel closer to them if they go there. Sometimes you go, oh yeah, this
6 feet of dirt.
Yeah, and sometimes you go, oh yeah, this person's super fucking dead and buried now, and that's even more depressing because So either way, depends on who you are, I guess. Yeah. So 1982, finally, 4 years later, Stockton is charged with the murder of Kenny Ardender. So he is, this is when finally, they wouldn't do it because they never had anybody to testify against him. Finally, they get another convicted felon to testify against him to say that he heard Stockton agree to a contract on his life. So we'll get into that shit here. Now, like I said, this is 4 years later they do it. So obviously evidence has gone away. Yeah. It's a tough trial here. It's tough. And this trial, by the way, is for the death penalty. Oh. So it's for all the marbles, number one. Number 2, this trial, everything is going to take place in Stewart, Virginia, not in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
They had a fight. Virginia and North Carolina fought over who was going to fucking try this guy for the death penalty because they think he's from Mount Airy, and the body was found in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Right.
But Virginia authorities, according to what they've heard, the murder actually took place in Virginia at that park they went originally.
Okay.
He took him out there, shot him, then put him in the car, drove him back to North Carolina, and dumped him. So they said he actually was killed here, so it's our jurisdiction, not yours, even though he's from there, everybody in the case is from there, and the body was found there. So it's fucking weird. They go back and forth of who's going to do it. Virginia ends up being the big winner here and getting the trial. Congratulations, Virginia.
Now you get to spend the money on this.
Yay, you. They go to Stewart, Virginia here. Finally, in 1983, the trial takes place. That's how long this shit goes.
5 years.
Yeah, the prosecutor's case is $1,500 he accepted for murdering Kenny Ardner. Took the money from Tommy McBride. They said that McBride was angry with Ardner for crossing him on a drug deal, wanted Ardner killed as a message to the others. This was about messaging. This was not about $375. This is about, I wanted to show everybody, you fuck with me, you end up dead with your hands cut off.
Investing almost $2,000 in that is amazing.
This guy saw some like fucking organized crime movies and was like, yeah, you got to really show him. You got to cut the dick off and put it in his mouth, I feel like. It's the only way they're going to know if they're talking. So he said that they're all saying that. The mother, obviously, Wilma Ardner, testifies that the last person she saw her son with was Dennis Stockton. Randy Bowman testifies that I was at the house when McBride, I know this because McBride tried to pay me the $1,500 before I could say yes, before I could get the air out of my lungs to say yes.
Right.
This dude jumped in and was like, I'll fucking kill him. Fuck that. Screw Randy Bowman. So he said that's what happened. Randy Bowman says that. He was over there, by the way, at the McBride house trying to sell some stolen goods to McBride.
So he was fencing stuff right then.
I'm trying to fence stuff, and I get offered a murder contract. You know how that is. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens. That's all it is. It's serendipity or, what's it called? Synergy, they call it in business. It's a synergy thing, really. It works.
Right hand shakes the left. That's it.
Yeah. Vertical integration. That's what the other one they like to say. It's vertical integration. That's all. You sell this, you get this. It's back and forth. It's all.
It's an asshole buzzword.
Synergistic vertical integration. So
very fortuitous.
Very, very fortuitous. His testimony, by the way, is the only evidence. There's no evidence. They have no gun. They have no.
All they've got is he said, she said in this shit.
They have Kenny's mother saw him leave with Stockton.
Right. Last
person to be seen with him, and then this guy, Randy Bowman, was there when the murder contract was taken. He heard him accept it, didn't see money change hands, anything like that. They went in the bedroom. But he said that's the only evidence.
And Mom's got also the phone call of, heard they found a body. Yeah, it's him. How do they know? Through dental records. Click.
Yeah.
That's super.
And then a bunch of circumstantial rumors.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing. But only actual testimony in court of one person saying that. And what happens is the way Stockton will defend that is he'll just blame Bowman for the murder. Yeah. And he's got a whole thing later on about why it was Bowman and it wasn't him. Now, the sheriff of Surry County, North Carolina, also submitted an affidavit indicating that he thought Bowman was the actual killer. He said that while he was in jail, this is the opposite of that. He said that Bowman's definitely not the killer because from July 3rd to August 16th, 1978, he files an affidavit saying that Bowman was in continuous custody in the Surry County jail.
We've had him locked up.
So from the 3rd to the 16th, yeah, definitely right in the middle there is the murder. Those dates obviously do that, but he contends, our guy here contends, Stockton contends that Bowman was recommended for work release on July 13th. So he probably would have got out. He said that he probably would have got out on work release. He could have been on work release then, and it just wasn't documented, or they're covering it up to make me look more guilty. One of the two. Either way, that's how it works. That's part of the defense. Stockton testifies in his own defense. Remember, he thinks he's real fucking smart. He does. These fucking asshole killers who think they're so goddamn smart they have to get up and do it. They always have to testify. He denies that he ever met with Tommy McBride and that McBride hired him to kill Ardner, which there's several people that said he was there. The only guy who said they heard of the murder proposition was Bowman, but everybody else said he was at least there. So right away, his credibility's fucked. He's like, I was never there.
Right.
5 people said you were there, dude. You were there. Like, give me a break. Then Tommy McBride, though, says that he never hired him to kill, because, obviously then he's a conspirator in this. Right. He said, I didn't kill this guy. They don't, by the way, charge Tommy McBride here at all is the other weird part. No, I don't know, because they have no...
Their whole point is conspiracy, yet they're not charging anybody with a conspiracy.
It's weird. Tommy McBride testified. He said that he referred to Kenny Ardner as Kenny Arrington. That's what he knew him as. Another guy, Donald York, was called for the state. He testified that he and Tommy McBride were cellmates, and in early October 82, McBride told him that the Arrington boy had ripped him off and that he had Stockton kill Arrington, which is what which McBride himself testified he referred to Kenny Ardner as. Okay. So there's that. So this goes to the jury here, and
that's the case.
That's the case. It was intentionally brief on my part because that's the whole case. The case
horrible.
The case in court is not great because the police really failed to do a whole shitload of things. Yeah. They couldn't really make a great case on it. That's all. 4 years later, things are gone. There's no physical evidence. Shit's in the wind. They didn't. Right away, when they talked to him, they didn't take his car in. They didn't fucking test it for blood. They didn't bring the truck in, have it fucking completely luminoled for blood to see if the guy was carried in the back of the truck and had it just maybe hosed it out afterwards or something.
This is so bad.
Nothing. Didn't swab it for blood. Didn't do anything. Any of the things that you would do to get physical evidence, they were just like, they went to his house, looked at his guns. They went, well, he doesn't have the right caliber, and left. That was their fucking investigation of him, which the last person to see him alive, which is with a criminal record this fucking long.
Right. And
it's insane.
Like that.
And he looks like that. You go, did you eat him? What did you do with him?
Right.
Like, did you eat his hands? You're a fucking monster. The guy looks like a monster.
You are that. You look like that. Your record says this. And whose body part is that?
What is that floating in? What's happening here?
But you don't have the same caliber. We're gonna move on.
We're moving on. Fine. He looks like you could sell his face as a Halloween mask.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Like, it's not good. So the verdict comes in. Now, no physical evidence, no weapon, no anything. The jury deliberates. You'd imagine this would take a while to... Yeah. You're going to have some people going, there's no evidence, and some people going, well, I still think he did it. There's deliberate.
No evidence. Look at his fucking face.
Look at him. Did you see his face? The jury deliberates for 70 minutes, an hour 10. Takes about an hour to fill the forms out, 45 minutes. So not a lot of deliberating going on. An unidentified juror was later quoted as saying, quote, there wasn't a lot of discussion as to whether he was guilty or not. I had my mind made up, but it surprised me that most of the other jurors did too. Surprised me that most everyone here is a closed-minded, prejudging fuck. Isn't that weird?
Surprised.
It's almost like it's rural North Carolina or something. It's
everybody else was like, that face is going to give me nightmares.
Yeah, that's right. 70 minutes. They find him guilty of murder.
Jesus Christ.
Guilty. 70 minutes. Dude, if I was him and it came back in 70 minutes, I'd be like, oh, awesome. They went in, they said there's no fucking evidence. How are we going to convict him? And they're coming back now. There's no way you could talk yourself into that with no evidence. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence to discuss, though.
No.
You believe that guy who said he heard the thing? I do. All right, then. That's it. All right.
Do you believe the face on that man is capable of murder? I sure do.
I'll tell you what now. That's
Poor
a big
bastard.
one. So the sentencing comes around now. And like I said, electric chair is on the table here.
Right.
At the hearing, another witness testifies that he had, this witness says that he had seen Stockton kill and bury Ronnie Tate in North Carolina in 1979.
Uh-oh.
So this is that guy. So Stockton claimed that so then they got to get Stockton up because this never came up before.
Right.
Now it comes up in trial at the sentencing. So Stockton, he has to come up and testify in his sentencing to rebut this because they're saying he's such a cold-blooded killer. He killed somebody else. If you let him out, he'll do it again.
Uh-huh.
That's the whole thing. Stockton claimed that he killed Tate in self-defense. So he'd never mentioned he killed this guy before. Now he's like, I did kill that man. He's right. But I did it in self-defense.
He's Junior from Mindhunter going, I did those murders.
I did those murders. This is crazy. Yeah, sure, that one too. Why not?
What the fuck?
Got more than peanut butter cups?
Got another one of those Scotch Mallows?
Oh, my God. He said that Tate pulled a gun on him and threatened to shoot him, so I shot him in the chest, just like the man said, and I did bury him, but it was only in self-defense. That's all. So, but I didn't kill the other guy, and I'm a nice man who you shouldn't put in the electric chair.
Anybody get some chocolate and the smooth? I got to go home.
He admitted to the killing now, obviously, and after this, too, he even leads police to Ronnie Tate's body after this all comes out.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, he's buried out there. You can find him. I definitely did shoot him and bury him and all that sort of thing here. So the prosecutor in his closing is like, obviously, he's a fucking menace to society here. They said this is one of several examples of the threat he poses to society. They prove that he remains a danger. He'll kill anyone in his path. And that's the way, apparently, that you can get a death sentence there is one of the ways is proving you're a consistent threat for murder in the future. The other argument for an execution under Virginia law is that the killing was vile and the murderer did more than was necessary to kill. So this prosecutor's like, we got it both ways. Yeah. Like, he's definitely a menace. Right. And on top of that, he didn't need to do all this shit, cut the hands off and all that, throw him in a ditch. Mm-hmm. He said the prosecutor tells the jury that he could meet both thresholds. He said that given Stockton's history, which includes shooting a gun into a store, escaping from a prison road crew, all that sort of shit, it shows he's a threat. Yeah. The guy, he'll take off, and if he does, watch out anyone in his way. Absolutely. You know, he needs to be locked up. So he said that Kenny's murder was vile because the victim's hands were cut off and never found. Mm-hmm. He never said where the hands were, and they were never found.
Wow.
So Kenny's body was found. He's decomposed. That's how his mother had to see him, blah, blah, blah. So during sentencing, during the whole thing, the jury goes out on they have to go out to eat. I don't understand why you would let this jury go out to eat during sentencing. You can order in food for them. So they go out to eat at the Owl Diner, okay? This is the day that they're deliberating the sentence.
Wow.
They go out there. In the middle of deliberations, they break off for a quick diner break, okay? Now, the proprietor of the diner, Glenn Puckett is his name. He owns the joint. He approached the jurors and told them, we'll get into what he said exactly, but at the end of it, his whole summary of it was, quote, they ought to really fry that son of a bitch.
Of course.
These are jurors that are in current deliberations over the penalty, okay? So
I'll tell y'all what I'm going to make for you. Here's a special menu, and you pick anything on it. The theme of it is everything's fried.
Everything deep fried. That's the thing. It's all going to be deep fried.
Fries, whatever you want, deep fried.
Deep fried. That's right. I got a fried salad that you will die for. I'm telling you, it is delicious.
You fry up the hush puppies.
You fry up a tomato, boy. There's something delicious there. I'm telling you what. That is something. So 2 groups of the jurors, 1 group of 3 women and another group of 3 or 4 men ate at the Owl Diner. So it wasn't all the jurors, it's near the courthouse. It's a casual diner, obviously. It's not a fancy black tie place. One juror recognized two court deputies at a nearby table as James Blackard, who will be subpoenaed later on and was subpoenaed at court to testify, and him and his wife were seated in a booth across the aisle from the male jurors. The Blackards both said that Glenn Puckett, the owner of the Owl Diner, approached the jurors and inquired whether they'd reached a decision yet.
You dick.
Hey, you guys decide what you're doing? Not about what you're ordering, right. About whether you're going to kill this guy or not. It's a different thing.
Decision? We did. I will have... No.
Or it'd be great if he just came up with his pad and he's like, you guys decide yet? And they're like, we're going to fry him. It's like, for lunch, actually, I meant. We're sorry. We're very antsy. We're ready to get going. We really take our job seriously.
It's our constitutional duty, and we wanted everybody to know.
So, did you reach a decision? One of the men replied that they all had decided, except for, quote, one damned woman that wouldn't decide. One damned woman.
Yeah.
Puckett then commented to the jurors that they ought to fry that son of a bitch. And according to the bailiff and his wife there, Puckett remained and conversed with the jurors for several minutes.
Puckett didn't stop this?
No. Puckett's the owner of the restaurant talking. No, the court guy, he didn't stop this. Didn't say a fucking word. Let it go on.
Dick.
That's just people being people. The jurors then went back and resumed deliberations after lunch. They concluded that Stockton was, quote, likely to commit criminal acts of violence that would constitute a continuous serious threat to society, and that his conduct was both outrageously wanton and vile, horrible, and also inhuman. And they said, you, sir, may fuck off. Death in the electric chair.
Oh, boy.
They sentencing to. That's a tough one, man. How the hell do you sentence? That's rough.
I'm so upset with this system.
He definitely, I totally think he did it. Yeah. Totally think it, but this is not, you don't have evidence to do this, and you can't have some juror go, I think you should fry that son of a bitch if that one goddamn woman will come around. You can't have that. It makes it look bad.
Police do their job, and citizens do yours. And shut the fuck up.
This is fucking really not great. So he tells the newspaper, Dennis Stockton does, that he's been railroaded. Yeah. Calm down. It's not that great. This is what I mean. Like, you're also wrong.
You're still trash.
So you're still a murderer. Yeah. Don't get us wrong. We're 99.9% sure you killed Kenny Ardner. Right. We're positive you killed Ronnie Tate because you got up in court under oath and fucking described it, and then showed police where you buried the goddamn guy. So you are a murderer.
Yeah.
He said he'd been railroaded. Then he says, one of the best things we've ever heard in small town murder from someone who has been convicted to and has admitted to murder.
Yeah.
Quote, if Jesus Christ himself would have been the defendant in this case, he would have been convicted up there. I never seen so much hanky-panky going on anywhere.
You said hanky-panky?
I've never seen so much hanky-panky going on anywhere.
Feels like he doesn't know what hanky-panky is.
No. If Jesus Christ himself had been the defendant in this case,
they'd have hanky-pankied right in front of him.
My God. I doubt that. Well, the thing was, I don't know if maybe Jesus would have been up there going, I had to shoot him in the chest 3 times and bury him. I had to do it. I mean, this one I didn't kill, but the other one, sometimes you got to pull the trigger. You know what you just know what I'm talking about, right? Hold on. Let me pull my hair back in a ponytail. Keeps falling in my face. All right. There we go. Next question. Who's got one for me? Let's go. Who's got one for JC? What do you got? J-Dog's answering questions. Bring it. I don't think that's happening. So
after this, I got a date with Aunt B. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get in there.
Come on. You know what I'm talking about, Andy, right? Come on, Furley, you fucking bum. Get the fuck out of here.
Taking her right over to that diner.
Those people are out of your minds. I'm telling you what, right now. I'm getting out of this shithole town. See you later. So he's going to prison. Now, 84, there's a civil case challenging prison conditions, and an inmate testified that he was in jail, and he said he was in jail with one of the witnesses from the Dennis Stockton case. And this man said, quote, he did tell me that he lied on Dennis because he said, quote, I hate that son of a bitch. So I lied about him.
Okay.
Another inmate said this same witness told him that he would, quote, say anything for anybody if the money was right. So
why are these people so loose with fucking shut the fuck up, you guys?
Oh, my God. Now, in 1984, there is an escape from death row, which we talked about in our last Virginia episode. This is complete coincidence, but Lem Tuggle, remember Lem Tuggle?
Yeah.
Lem Tuggle, who escaped with 5 other inmates from death row.
Right.
Stockton was one of the original planners of this. When we talked about there was a couple guys in the original planning who didn't end up going, Dennis Stockton's one of them.
This dickhead.
Lem Tuggle wasn't even there yet when Stockton started planning this.
Wow.
This is fucking crazy. This was, the one guy.
That was the one where they took the uniforms and everything?
This was the one they observed how they were often failed to follow procedures.
Right.
When they were coming in from recreation about 8 p.m., one of the prisoners hid in the bathroom next to the entrance of the death row cell block and then charged out and went into the control room, overpowered the officer, released all the locks.
Right.
They took over the block. They got homemade knives, blindfolded all the fucking officers, and got the van and took off.
Yep, and took their uniforms and left in the police uniforms, right?
Yeah, they put on riot helmets to conceal their faces and carried the TV out of the unit on a stretcher while spraying it with a fire extinguisher.
That's right.
Yeah. They put all of that. This is a crazy
genius.
Crazy
you don't look at the
thing.
guy, you look at the crazy shit happening on that gurney.
Yep, and then Tuggle ended up getting busted after robbing a Vermont souvenir shop for $80, if we remember correctly. Everybody was ended up being put to death that was caught there, actually. So there was that. Now,
Stockton was originally part of that shit.
He was one of them. Yes, he was one of the people planning it in the original. There was they found unsigned notes and a sketch that were sent to authorities by Stockton here. These were ones that he, from the beginning stages of the planning, he was planning on escaping from the maximum security Mecklenburg Correctional Center, but later he decided not to join the attempt. He said, he said that he wrote a diary from every day he's in prison, and he was sending it to the newspaper talking about it. A search based on his note failed to turn up hidden weapons before the escape, but they did end up finding places to hide hidden weapons that he told them about. So probably pissed off all the prisoners there.
Sure.
Now, in his diary, he kept it ever since his first day on death row, June 20th, 1983. It's 5 days after he got there. So lengthy excerpts of it were published in the Virginian Pilot newspaper in 1984.
He's published,
which, he writes a book too. He's got a whole bunch of shit. He described, in what's described as clear reportorial style, the only mass escape from death row in U.S. history. He's written several as yet unpublished books and was the author of a monthly prison newsletter that was sometimes bitter and angry.
It sounds like our guy.
That's our guy. He gained notoriety when excerpts of his diary that he wrote went in the newspaper that we talked about, from a Norfolk, Virginia newspaper. His writings chronicled drug and alcohol use at the prison and detailed plans for the death row breakout, like we said. The official said that Stockton's life was in jeopardy because inmates were angry over the diary.
Yeah.
So,
he's a fucking rat.
Yeah, because he was moved to death row, and then he says that they're just getting back at him because of his disclosures. Mm-hmm. He told of long days of what he called heat and tedium, homosexual acts, as he describes the whole thing.
Right? In prison?
In prison? No. Gee, I would never think that in a million years.
Even the mob gives you a pass.
Right. Extensive drug use and prison guards who, quote, turn their heads. Yeah. Prison, he just described. It also paints a picture of lax conditions at what is touted as the state's most secure prison. I would say don't tout it anymore after 6 people escaped from death row. Yeah. In the diary, he said that 10 inmates were involved in the original escape plot. One of them, Joseph Giarantano of Norfolk, was not in the same side of the death row pod and received his assignment in conversations conducted through vents. So they even were bringing in people who weren't there. He also describes how he and other inmates smoked weed almost daily and exchanged reefers, as he called it, as Christmas presents, and grew marijuana plants in their cells.
Get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. That's the easiest thing in the world to see, smell, find. It's not toilet wine. That's a completely different thing.
That needs sunlight. You can't just hide that.
It needs sun and water, and you have to do certain shit, and then you can smell it, and then what are you going to dry the buds and hang them up when you're done? Like, you can't, you're in fucking jail. Wow. He said, quote, everybody has been falling down drunk on all that home brew plus all the dope, is what he wrote about a Christmas. This is the Christmas Day 1983 entry. Everyone's just falling down from prison wine and weed. He said, quote, the guards are all turning their heads. I got really bored about 4 p.m. Everybody was so messed up. I bet I was interrupted 100 times by different ones today, wanting to come in and out and join the party. I told them I'd have to pass on that home brew, but I've smoked reefer continuously all day and night. I wish I had a movie camera to make movies of this drunk bunch and show them later. Oh, hell, it is Christmas. Mm-hmm. Wow. One of the 8 counselors in the institution said that he said, quote, that's a natural occurrence. I guess all inmates are making brew right now. I guess around Christmas, everybody gets their brew going and the guards look the other way.
Got to make the punch, James.
You got to make the punch. They said although some guards apparently ignored the drug issue, Stockton said that others smuggled marijuana into the inmates. Well, how the fuck else? Yeah, that's how shit gets in prisons.
It's mostly
the number one way, because everything else has to be fit up an ass. This is the only people who can bring it in a non-anal cavity situation. He said one guard identified in the diary as a supplier, Houston Ragsdale Jr., pleaded guilty to a charge of smuggling pot to death row prisoners less than 2 weeks before the escape. So he wasn't lying about that. They said the drug trafficking stopped briefly in the days after the breakout, but has since resumed. He said that a guard brought him a marijuana cigarette on his dinner tray, tucked between 2 rolls on July 15th. Okay. That sounds great. You get bread and weed? Fuck. It's not too bad. See, it's a decent run he's having there.
Yeah.
I got dinner rolls and weed? That's fantastic.
But I also imagine that it wasn't like a gift. I'm sure that he had to pay for that.
Oh, yeah. But still, you can get it. That's good.
Yeah.
Besides drugs and escapes, he talked a lot about what he called, quote, homosexual trysts between inmates that were apparently ignored by guards. Yeah. He said, quote, homosexual relationships of some standing occurred among the inmates on death row, leading to quarrels and posing security problems for everybody. So, yeah, his guys fight. So he said 2 of the escapees were lovers, but wouldn't say which 2.
Oh, is that right?
Out of the 2 of the escapees, I assumed the 2 that went together that weren't brothers.
Oh, yeah, the ones that went on their own.
Yeah.
Yep.
They probably were the guys, I would imagine, because they went together.
It's probably the best guess.
It's all I can think of. He did all of this fucking writing in here. Then he said that he's looking forward to his date with the executioner. Mm-hmm. He said, quote, I'm ready to go anytime. There's no way you could understand unless you've been through what I've been through. So 1985, he wants to die.
Yeah.
Gonna die in 85. He's like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do it. He attempts to drop all his appeals and requested the execution, but just hours before he was supposed to die, he said, okay, never mind, I'll reinstate my appeals. And then they delayed his execution.
This fucking asshole.
He went through this big, giant public thing of kill me now, and then was like, never mind, no, you can put in my last second appeal and delay my shit.
I got a good chance of winning this one.
So he does. In 1987, a federal judge is going to hear about his death sentence here. This is to hear if the jury was tainted by the guy at the diner.
Yeah.
So the diner owner, when asked about it, Puckett says, I don't even know whether I said it. Hell, you know how you say lots of things. I don't know. That's what he said. You know how you say lots of things. You just talk. You know how you just interfere with a jury that's doing their duty. You know how you just do that.
I don't remember what I said to the people that were the jurors of the biggest case in our fucking town's history. I have no idea.
I talk a lot. I yap a lot. I don't know. Then they said,
I talk a lot.
They said, do you think that he should die, Stockton? And he said, I'm not even going to comment.
We know. We know
you got to come in and get the meatloaf if you want to hear my opinion on that. Otherwise, no. So the trial, they heard the testimony of Mr. and Mrs. Blackard, which is the guard there. He said that they were present and heard everything. Here's how it goes in the examination. They said, tell the judge what you saw and what you heard. And he says they were sitting together, and Glenn Puckett, the owner of the diner, came up and was talking to them about the trial. He wanted to know if they reached a verdict, and one of them, I did not know which one, said all of them decided except for one woman, or something to that effect. So they said the only statement, they said, they heard it from the third person, whatever. So they both had the same story, obviously. So there was that. They said that some of the jurors, at least, Puckett had talked to and told. It wasn't all of them. It was like 6 or 7, but it still was a lot. The testimony was corroborated by some other juror testimony, as well as that of Puckett, saying he talked to them. They definitely discussed with Puckett the deliberations and things like that. If you go there and that's what you hear, somebody who isn't real strong in their own thing might go, oh, that's what everybody wants. They're going to be mad at me if I don't do that. Seems like that's what the town people want. All of Mayberry wants this guy fucking killed. So the judge says, so they put aside his death penalty based on that.
Yeah.
The judge offers him a choice now. Here's your choice, Chief. You can you're already guilty. It's just sentencing.
Okay.
So this was the sentencing. The guilt or innocence, that's done already.
Done.
He says you can have a choice. Either you take life imprisonment right now
With no
or
possibility.
a new sentencing hearing where you can either have life in prison or the death penalty. Those are your options. And he says, you know what? I'm innocent. I want a new sentencing hearing. I'm innocent.
Okay.
Innocent.
Yeah.
New sentencing hearing is what I want here. So he said that he's done. This is bullshit. I'm not taking life in prison because I'm sure I'll get off otherwise. So, his attorney said, we're obviously very pleased and gratified. This is a favorable result and as favorable as any we could have possibly anticipated. This is terrific. So the prosecutor at first decides he doesn't even know if they're going to refile for that or if they're just going to take the life and, do it that way. They don't know how they're going to do it. So they end up getting a new guy in there, and he says that he's going to seek the resentencing. He's going to seek the death penalty again. They're trying to get right in there. He said, we're going to pick a date here in the next 30 to 60 days to get in there and get him resentenced. We need to get him on death row real quick here. Yeah. So he said that I really don't see and I don't believe that their comment in the diner affected the jurors, is what the prosecutor said. But he understood the justice's position that outside of the courtroom shit could have influenced them. He says, quote, if it takes sequestering a jury, that's what we'll do. There you go. So Stockton here, he said he's going to fight it, though. He says, so they get out there. They have a letter from 1990. Okay, here. This letter here, in keeping with this is okay. They're trying to say Randy Bowman. I had to make sense of this myself. Randy Bowman wrote a letter to a prosecutor offering information in exchange for reduced sentence. So, and that's the crux of Stockton's case too, is that Bowman was lying on the stand, saying that he overheard, that he was offered the murder case, blah blah blah. So. They said that this is a prosecutor sends the correspondence to a judge, says, I'm writing to disclose information which may arguably be viewed as by you as mitigation evidence. Randy Bowman sent a letter to Jay Gregory, that's that investigator, remember, on March 2nd, 1983, in which he wrote that he would not come to court unless he could get the remaining 6 or 7 months of his sentence curtailed. So he says, as you can see from the enclosed copy, Bowman did not write that he had been promised the sentence reduction. Actually, he closes the letter by writing that if Gregory will call Raleigh, he's sure Gregory can work something out. I was not aware of any of the promises. Because he got on the stand and they said, have you been promised anything for your testimony? He said no, because he hadn't been promised it yet. That's what they do. They bring him in there. They know what the deal is, but they can't make a deal with him until after the sentencing. This happens all over the country all the time. And that way that person go, I have no deal with anything. And as soon as the trial's over, they have a deal. It's common. And it's kind of a fucked up tactic, honestly. But here was what the letter said from Bowman. Hi, Mr. Gregory. I'm writing to let you know that I'm not going to court unless you can get this 6 or 7 months I've got left cut off where I don't have to come back to prison. I've got a bunch of problems, but I can't tell you about them now. Why not?
Let's hear them. I want them.
Let's hear them. You're asking for a big thing. Let's find out why.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you how serious, by the way, Searious. Serious.
Yeah,
that's how the man spelled it.
Steak, serious.
Serious about that. I'll probably, and it's probably, not probably, just probably.
Yeah, P-R-O-B-L-Y.
Probably.
Yeah.
Get killed over this anyway, and I think I deserve to get out of prison before I do. Mr. Gregory, if you'll call Raleigh and explain to them how serious, again, spelled wrong, and that's just how he thinks it's spelled, this thing is, I'm sure you can.
Words, James.
He's got the best. He's doing great. He's killing it. He's got the great lawyer who wrote him out a wonderful letter and said, we're going to make it seem like it's from you.
Yeah.
We'll misspell serious, and then they'll never know. So he is, this comes up. There's closing arguments here. Defense attorney says that Dennis Stockton, who killed Ardner, and the Dennis Stockton they're different people. That 1978 Ardner and 1990 Ardner, this guy's a model prisoner.
Okay.
He's a model prisoner. He found religion. So it's good now. He said he found religion and he's worked very hard on his own rehabilitation. He's not the same person. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't drink. He doesn't kill. He doesn't do anything. Okay. He is because he's on death row. There isn't really an opportunity. But he said that Dennis Stockton is as capable of repentance and as entitled to forgiveness as any man. That sounds like church stuff there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has a place in a court of law.
You can have forgiveness from a higher power, but society, we got rules and shit.
Yeah, by the way, this when we say like death penalty, like you need to have this and this and that, this falls under none of those parameters of like you need certain ways of proof. Not a lot of proof here to do this with, but still. He also, Patrick County Commonwealth Attorney Anthony Giorno, he said the evidence shows the dual personality of Stockton.
Yeah.
He says, quote, is he a changed man? I don't think so. I think he just knows how to live the prison system, and there's no prison in the country escape-proof. What possible chance did he give Kenny Ardner? The only option, the right option, is to sentence this man to death. Now, at the hearing, he is, by the way, wearing shackles because he's considered an escape risk at the hearing because he tries to do that a couple of times.
And look at his fucking face.
After lunch, he exploded in anger, shouting complaints at the city jail and requests to fire his attorney at the judge. They said that he lashed out. Judge Frank Richardson refused to release the attorneys and sent Stockton back to a holding cell where he began banging on the bars. Given a second chance to sit in on the court proceedings, Stockton cursed the judge and called him a crook, which is what you want to do when a guy's about to have your life in his fucking hand. He says that he wants to represent himself.
Of course he does.
Because his lawyers are not looking after his best interests. He says, quote, I move, this is to the judge, I move for you to remove yourself, you biased son of a bitch. He said that to the judge. He called him a biased son of a bitch in his own courtroom.
Awesome.
Then said, now let me off.
Now what?
Now what? Now take me to jail like Henry Hill in Goodfellas, he might as well have said. So
the guy I went to middle school with did that shit too. He called the judge a fraud to his face.
Yeah, that's not really that smart.
And then they gave him life without.
Yeah, that's what'll happen a lot of the times. It's like, oh, really?
Is that right?
That is a human being who can then, how about this? Fuck yourself. How's that? Guess what I just did? Don't piss off a judge. Right or wrong, they have a lot of power. Imagine if you cut someone off in traffic, gave them the finger, and they had the power to sentence you to death for that. Like, think about that. Would you be nicer in traffic? If someone you gave the finger to can bang a gavel and send you to the electric chair?
That's what I just did.
Fuck that. There'd be a lot of kind waves and smiles in traffic if that was a goddamn case. So he is sentenced. You, sir, get the fuck back to death row with you. The judge, not surprisingly, puts him back on death row here. Now, Wilma, this whole time, has been waiting. Wilma Ardner been back and forth. He's going to be killed. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. She says, quote, I think Dennis is guilty. He may not have pulled the trigger. He may not have been the only one involved, but that doesn't make him less guilty. The first time I saw him after Kenny was killed, you could see the guilt. It was like he couldn't hardly stand to look us in the face. Yeah. By the way, Randy Bowman, he recants his testimony as well at this point, saying he didn't actually hear the whole hit being put together anymore.
Bowman?
He recants that. He told a newspaper, not in court, in a newspaper, he told them that he never heard the money for hire deal. But the Virginia Attorney General's office later filed an affidavit in court in which he claimed he never recanted, and the newspaper took him out of context or incorrectly or whatever the fuck. So, Wilma, the mother, wanted to talk to Bowman and find out what the fuck was really going on, because she doesn't care about legal shit. She wants to know who killed my kid. That's it.
Yeah. I need
care
closure.
Legally.
Who's breaking the hands off my fucking angels?
There you go. She says exactly. Who's the fucking angel handbreaker?
Yeah.
I talked to Bowman before he testified against Dennis. He was scared to death, not of Stockton, but of Tommy McBride. She said, I don't think Randy Bowman was lying. What he said in court, that was right after it happened. What he said this April, that was 12 years later. There's a lot of things I don't remember that far back. You can't remember everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing a lot of drugs. She says, even with certainty of his guilt, Stockton's guilt, she feels no satisfaction that he'll be executed. She says, like, that doesn't help me any. There's no sense of vindication. She said, not now, not then, not in the future. It just doesn't help any. That doesn't, my kid, which is how I feel. You know, my great grandmother got killed and brutally fucking murdered, tied up and throat cut and the whole deal.
There's no fixing that.
Then what? Yeah. Oh, well, let's sit here and let's now go to court every day for 6 months and say how much we want this person in jail for what, or get her killed for what? You know what I mean? That's right. Our part in this is gone. Now this is between you and the state. Now I don't really care anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm sad over here. I don't know. Unless you want revenge, then it's a different story. So, which is understandable. Yeah. I am Italian. I get it. So. She said that, she can't remember everything. So she said that, quote, I don't even know if I will go to the execution, she said. My sister said she would love to go, but for me, I don't know. At one time, it wouldn't have bothered me to stand Dennis up against a pole and shoot him as full of holes as a sifter. Jesus Christ. She thought about that shit.
That's a lot of holes.
That's a lot of holes. You can put water through it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way now. She said now it's only a sense of exhaustion. She's just sad. That's all. She said, I wish Dennis could have been something else. He was so well-mannered, is what she said. He had such a nice voice on the telephone. How could he be a killer? Such a nice voice on the telephone. How could he possibly be a killer? She said, I just feel so sad about his being so intelligent and turning to crime. It's a waste of an intelligent person and a waste of life. She's a very kind woman, this Wilma. I feel terrible for her. So he stopped his appeals and convinced a judge to set an execution date. He says he wants to be put to death immediately. He said, quote, I'm ready to go anytime.
He's doing anytime. All the bullshit.
Yep. He said because, he said it was great. He said it's because of a million little things. There's no way you could understand unless you've been through what I've been through since 1985. He says he has severely limited access to books, showers, recreation, and ventilation. He says he spends nearly all of his day in a small, poorly maintained cell without a fan to cool him on hot summer days. He says he believes corrections officials are trying to get revenge for the newspaper publication of the infamous diary in which he detailed everything that we talked about. He said Mecklenburg was a luxury compared to this. They spend more time out of their cells in one day than I do in a month. They can see movies. They can keep themselves clean. He said that he was different, all these different he spent time in these different buildings, and then now he's ready to go. Mm-hmm. He said, good gosh, that would be a long time for anyone to be confined to a cell. It's not the sort of place to be for a long period of time, because he's been like 14 months straight in a cell. He said one of his biggest complaints is the lack of a fan, though. He says the nearest window is about 25 feet away, and his hair and prison jumpsuit are constantly saturated with sweat because of the heat.
Sweat me a river.
It's a hot shit down there. They said that their prison officials said in response they're considering letting him have a fan outside of his cell.
Kind of shitty.
It is a little stuffy in here. He said they said Stockton can get books from the prison library by filling out a form, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about there. He says that he did not kill Ardner now. Now he's saying he didn't do it at all.
Now he's completely innocent.
He said, I didn't kill Kenny Ardner. I ain't even ever told nobody I did it either. Okay. I ain't even ever told no one I did it neither. Okay. He said that at least one witness who testified against him made a deal with the prosecution. They asked him, what would he do if he resumed his appeals, and he said, I'd never be moved from Mecklenburg. I probably wouldn't have stopped my appeals if I wouldn't have moved there, but now I can't see getting any privileges. They don't want me to change my mind. There's a giant thing of clemency, a giant clemency document, by the way, that he writes. Okay. He writes a whole book about this whole shit. But there's a clemency document that says it's all Bowman, okay? All Bowman here. They said Bowman, who was the critical prosecution witness, has now admitted he lied on the stand when he testified. I'll go through this it's long. I'm not going to go through all of it, but Bowman's credibility at trial was protected by an unscrupulous prosecutor who illegally withheld evidence that Bowman got a deal in exchange for his testimony, as well as other evidence helpful to Mr. Stockton. But the undisclosed deal was not the only reason Bowman lied on the stand. We now know the other reason. Bowman was the real killer.
Oh.
This is a new theory. Two witnesses swear that Bowman admitted that he, in fact, killed Mr. Ardner. Bowman confessed to the murder to his then-wife at the time he committed the murder, then again just last winter to a friend. Other evidence corroborates these witnesses. Bowman, a convicted felon and an extremely violent man, has already admitted 3 times under oath that the offer to kill Mr. Ardner was first made to him. Bowman, not Mr. Stockton. Bowman, not Stockton, possessed a machete at the time of the murder that was capable of causing the severe wounds inflicted on his body. You can get a knife or a fucking machete. That's not... In farmland, you can find an implement that's sharp that you can cut something with. Look in your shed. Bowman's own son, who Bowman sought to corrupt by including him on his frequent criminal jaunts, swears that Bowman admitted that he had killed more than one person. By contrast, the evidence against Mr. Stockton was meager. Even putting aside the gross misconduct by the prosecutor, no physical, eyewitness, or direct evidence has ever connected Stockton to Ardner's death or murder scene. Well, I mean, I think it's a clear case of, open and shut here. Dennis Stockton's trial is a travesty. In this case, where the Commonwealth sought the death penalty, the prosecutor intentionally failed to turn over evidence that would have proven conclusively that the real killer is obviously Randy Bowman.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, then he goes, at the end, there's a whole thing. No physical or direct evidence connected to Mr. Stockton's been found. No eyewitnesses ever connected Mr. Stockton with either the murder or the alleged scene. Well, that's also because Stockton admittedly killed the guy who was there.
Right.
He literally said that. I did that. He testified in court to that. No evidence connected Stockton with any murder weapon. No evidence has ever been produced. And the person who hired Stockton to kill Ardner has never been tried for the hiring. 4 years after the crime, Randy Bowman, a convicted felon, sought out and volunteered a statement to police that said the whole thing, blah, 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 blah. So that's how it goes. Now, there's a lot more to it. It's so fucking long, dude.
Imagine.
It's like 50 fucking pages of shit. It's pretty goddamn interesting too, honestly. There's some a bunch of legal shit. Anyway, so 1995, this is all happening in. Despite the governors are arguing over who's going to kill him, but he remains in Virginia on their death row. Now he said that he's not going to challenge the execution, but then tries to challenge it at the last second again, goes to the U.S. Supreme Court, who voted 8-0 to deny the clemency.
Okay.
And to deny his claims, and there's that. So then they go to Governor George Allen, who then denies their clemency plea as well. Mm-hmm. So Wilma, the mom, said... Stockton's execution won't erase the pain. She said, I don't think I'll ever get over Kenny being killed. She lives with her daughter and crafts antique chairs out of clothespins.
What?
I don't know how that works. Sometimes crafting antique chairs out of clothespins.
So, like, what?
How do you... What? I don't know.
Does she just, like, whittle, like, little tiny ones?
Does she clip them all together in the shape of a big chair? You can't sit in that. That'll fall right apart.
Like are they the big clothespins? Even
Are
then,
they big?
A doll
antique
can't sit
chairs?
in that shit.
I am really... This is the most confusing thing about this whole case.
How big of a clothespin is that?
How are you doing this? Multiple clothespins? I'm picturing them all together. Yeah. I don't know. She said, the whole mystery of why my Kenny was killed will never be answered. Nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
So, in September of 1995, the 27th, it is time for its execution day here.
Oh, boy. What did he have?
Yes. Light blue short sleeve shirt, dark blue trousers, rubber shower shoes, and white socks here.
That's where they're taking him in.
Last meal.
Yes, sir.
Grilled cheese.
Not bad.
That's not a bad choice.
And what?
That's it. Just grilled cheese sandwich. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted.
A
grilled
glass
cheese
of
sandwich.
water?
I guess so. I didn't get a drink out of this
not
thing.
Not even tomato soup?
No, that's how would you not put a tomato soup to dip it? That's the best part.
That with it?
Grilled cheese is a solid choice. If it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's got cheese, it's got that bread, it's fried, it's very comforting.
Very simple. Yeah.
Simple.
Comforting.
But you need, the problem is when you're done with a grilled cheese, you want another grilled cheese immediately. So you'd have to get like 4 grilled cheeses. I'm not sure the amount of grilled cheeses. I assume a bunch.
The most I got.
Grilled cheese?
Yeah.
I could throw down a bunch of grilled cheeses. Man.
I'm sure I could, but like by the time I get down the second one, I'm like, yeah, that's enough.
2 is what I'll make.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have a toaster that fits more than 4.
But 1 is not enough.
Well, not that I'll toast a grilled cheese,
right,
but you know what I mean. That's how you think of it. You think of 4. Plus, even in a frying pan, it doesn't fit.
That takes a lot of fucking work to make more than 2.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, 2 is tops, and then a bowl of soup, and that's what you got. So,
and if I make them for my kids, by the time I get done making the second one, I'm already grilled cheesed out. I don't want to make another.
Yeah, I'm not going back for more. No, there's a fucking dirty frying pan in the sink now.
And they gradually get worse in quality as I make them.
I'm not going to care anymore here.
By the end, the last one's barely toasted.
So he asked the guard to remove his glasses while he's strapped onto the gurney.
Oh, he's getting lethal injection?
Yeah, no death, but no electric chair. They already got rid of it here. So he just, laid there. Yeah. And he is the 300th person put to death in the United States since capital punishment was reinstated.
Oh, 300! He got himself a
number
milestone.
300. Nice round number here. So there's that. He is dead, and that, everybody, is Mayberry, all fucked up. That is. The cops are fifing it hard.
Yeah.
The town's a mess. Everyone's on goddamn drugs. It's a mess in this town.
The one thing honest about the Andy Griffith Show is that they are not clean at closing a case.
No, terrible about it. Good job, Andy Griffith, for making it. Yeah. The guy in there, the drunk, he's not actually a drunk. He's actually a murderer. He's been there for years. They just haven't put together the case yet against him. They're like, it's taking him an extra little while. Let's get him like a fifth of something and keep him occupied
in there. Every time he goes to the jail, it's not because he's drunk. It's because he just murdered someone and he feels bad about it.
That's all it is. That's it. So that, everybody, Mount Airy, North Carolina, the crazy story of Kenny Ardner and Dennis Stockton and Randy Bowman and Tom and McBride and the whole deal. It's a mess.
I don't know who killed Ardner.
No clue.
But he certainly deserved the death penalty for killing the guy. He was clearly involved in Ardner, one way or another, whether he gave somebody a ride or not. And then he killed the guy for sure that was also there with him.
Yeah, that's my only thing is I think he killed Ardner because otherwise he has no reason to kill Tate.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why I'm pretty positive he did it. Otherwise, I'd have no clue. But to go out of your way that far to cover it up, you probably did it. Right.
Unless you just don't want Tate to, if you don't want to be implicated in a crime you didn't commit but you were a part of. You know what I mean?
That's true. Maybe he thinks Tate did it. Maybe Tate did it, and then he was trying to. Who knows? But either
Bowman
way,
did it with all three of them in the fucking car.
That's what I mean. Who the hell knows? Either way. It was like 20. It's been over for about 27 years now with the death. So I guess that's that. Fuck it. Moving on.
Yeah.
review the show if you want. Please do that. Do it anywhere you're listening, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform. Especially, you can now do it on Spotify and Audible now. Audible, with your audiobooks, there's a podcast section. If you search, we're on there. Please give us reviews. It really, really helps us out. So please do that. It'll take you 2 seconds. Right. Even if you don't listen on there, throw one on there. You know you have an Audible account. Get it in there.
Yeah.
Do that shit. Check it out. Please, it does help us out a lot. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com to get everything, all your merchandise, all of your tickets to live shows. And also, you can get either at shutupandgivememurder.com or at momenthouse.com/smalltownmurder. You can get tickets to the February 10th virtual live show of Small Town Murder. It's a Small Town Murder episode, and as if you saw the last one, you know that was awesome, and we had a great time. Yeah. There's so much fucking fun, and it's really great that we can't do shows for like the next 2 months here, so it's really great that we still get to put a show out and hear feedback, and it's a lot of fun. We had a blast with it last time, and also people overseas get to see it. It's just a lot of fun. It'll be available not only February the 10th, but then 3 days afterwards for 72 hours. You can still get it, so you can do it over the weekend. You can watch it multiple times. Right. Do whatever you want. Have a party. Do it. Have a viewing party, even if it's a virtual one, a Zoom one, or have your friends over. Do whatever the fuck you're doing. Hang out with us that night.
While you watch. I could give a shit.
Yes.
Just hang out with us. It's going to be great.
Get your goddamn tickets right now.
James
is all you have to do.
will be done with COVID, and I'll be able to be around.
I'll be feeling great. I'll be feeling great here. So, there is, you do all that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Such good stuff there. This week, we have some excellent stuff here. Anybody $5 or above, you get access to everything. All of the shows, both shows, from Small Town Murder, Crime and Sports. This week, you're going to get year in sports crime for Crime and Sports. We're going to go over 1995, arrest by arrest. It's fucking hilarious to hear the amount of disaster that 1995 was for athletes getting arrested. And then for Small Town Murders, one of our most requested, and people, I've heard somebody go, I thought, I've heard enough about this. I don't want to hear this. But then I listen, and it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. JonBenet Ramsey case. Yes, I know, weird that it's really funny, but I'm telling you, when you look at it, the investigation, not the murder, the investigation, the way we looked at it,
when you
look at that ransom
there's
note.
A dead child. Everything else is fodder.
It's ridiculous and it's asinine. And I think you might, honestly, a lot of people said, I never thought about it like that. I changed my opinion. Yeah. We find the little things. Ted Bundy's socks, Scott Peterson's fucking bitten and put away pizza. Little things. And we know what we're doing here. So check that out. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Do that today. And you'll also get a shout out from Jimmie here, where he will mispronounce your name while trying his best to pronounce it properly. He will. Also, follow us on social media at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. That said, Jimmie, damn it, hit me with the name of the list of people who would never, ever send me to the electric chair just because a diner owner told me to. Told them to. That's what I meant to say. Hit me with that list right now.
This week's executive producers are Bryant Rivera Rumbo, Jordan Bennett, Carol Braun. It's really Carol Braun and Jordan have been doing this for
thank you
years, and I can't thank you guys enough for being
people.
So amazing to us.
Thank you.
You're darling, truly. Lisa Fong donated in honor of all spunky Italian grandmas everywhere, including yours and hers. Obviously.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Carmel Puttyfoot, Dizzy O'Rourke, and Chantella McKay. Thank you guys.
Immensely,
fucking endlessly, truly,
for your support.
And the amount of people that donated this week based on just because you love grandmothers. That
was nice.
I honestly,
thank you.
Bleary eyes through tears. A couple of names just because the donation
Very
was so sweet. So thank you guys.
A lot
truly.
of sweet ones.
Other producers this week also Fraser Henderson in Scotland. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Grace M. She had a near full ride through college and landed a dream job. Congratulations, Grace.
Congrats. You're the one, huh?
The smart and talented. Congrats on all your full ride. That's there's no debt involved in that.
No, you're rolling.
Good
babe.
work.
Good job.
Smart and talented Victoria and Charlotte Payne. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Corporal Carl Kirshner, Zoe Bird, James Martyr, Booger Johnson Jr., On Young. On Young, I believe that's onion.
That's Anyang is Korean for hello. It's a Arrested Development joke.
Okay, I've got to watch more of that goddamn show.
It's a great show. It's fucking amazing.
I've seen it all the way through and don't remember a goddamn joke, except for there's always money in a banana stand.
Always money in T-Bone. He's a flamer. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go on.
Remember that? All right. Peyton Meadows, Ashton Perkins, Anita Dick. That's a reference from Letterkenny. Jimmie and the Whipped Creams, I guess. Larry Butterfast, you bastard. Happy birthday, awesome. Jenny Lee Banman. Your country friends love you, you slut. I was told to say it.
It's not us.
It's not how I would talk to you. I apologize.
No. Much nicer.
Adam Nuth won the CIS and STM Fantasy Football League. Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Maddie Cakes, Mike Papa, and Maggie Quackenbush helped out with that. Bridget O'Shaughnessy, she donated both ways. Thank you so much.
O'Shaughnessy?
That's the name.
Yeah, there you go.
O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy. I'm like, O'Shaughnessy.
That's how I would sing
it.
Yeah. Wilson, Evan Hovorka. Happy Hour was in Hooksett, New Hampshire. I don't know if you know, James, but Hooksett is the only Hooksett in the country. Dr. Myron Schmuckstein, Andre from Moldova, and his brother-in-law, Charlie, James.
That's 90 Day Fiancé, right?
There you go. Charles Emerson Winchester III. That is... MASH, right. Caitlin Smith, Janice Hill, Mara Fechner, Frank the South African Birdwatcher, also Frank the South African Birdwatcher whore.
Oh, good. No last name.
Katya Jerkinoff, if you're proud of yourself for that one. Rebecca Flowers. Rebecca Flowers, Maureen Moran. Donate for us to donate to pup shelters. Thank you, Maureen. We will do that. Jason Forrest, Mandy in Hilton Head, Jean Leon Magnato. I think it's Magnato. Happy birthday, okay. Justine McNeil and her son Boston Fuey Moi. He gave his parents poems for Christmas. Well played, sir.
Nice job. Good work.
That's the way you come up. Ruse Ramakers. Tiffany Cook. I don't know. I'll never get it right. Trey Volkanar sent us due money for Karan Butler.
Perfect.
Josie McGregor and Jill, thank you both. Claire Jones, Ralph Furley, Alexander Welch, Morgan McLeod, Thomas Smith. Hang in there, Tom. It will get better, I promise. He got laid off and then he's going through a spat. He's a great dude in fucking England. Yeah, Thomas, sucks, we appreciate you.
We've all been there.
Rachel Taylor, S.J. Surridge, Diana Anzarina Bautista, Cassie Harlow, Reagan Shalkley, Plum Creek Farm, Michelle Kerr, Spalding Small Snicker Bar. I think that's the Snickers bar that was in the pool in Caddyshack.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Maybe.
I think so. Catherine Focher? Jesus. Richard, I hardly know her. Richard Schammel, Jen with no last name. Carly Hubschman, Jake 8429, not the other ones. Sarah the Queen, Sarah Mitchell, Zach Hines, Ashlyn Wolf, Heather Hall, not Wolf. McKinley with no last name. Dave Kraft, Vera Asplund. Yeah, Grant Vipond, Zachary Smith, Andrew Deuce, Regina Abigail Adams, Sam Powell, Joe Fitzpatrick, Gregory Smith, Adam Grumprick, Jessica with no last name, Nick Howard, and Tiffany Mendoza, Horse that Goes Quack, Natalie Goltz, Christian Gray, probably not that one, Rosamund Idon, Casey Lincoln, Erie Webbs, Liz with no last name, Janine Wachter, Francisco Medrano, Sean Hopkins, what? Is that right? Michael Ray Duncan Jr. Oh, it's John Hopkins. That's where I was. That sounds familiar. Mallory Harding, Riley McCaffrey. My brain goes in a lot of directions, James. Emma Calder. It's very lost. Maggie M. Sarah with no last name. Melissa Jensen. Princess Weeks. Caleb Fessel. Jimmy Floyd. William Edwards. Jen Rizzo. Shelby Epic Pitch. James Leco. Cop Lauren, what? That can't be right. Jeff Kavanaugh, Matt Bilski, Haley Steinhilber, Matthew, nope, that's Mike Naughton, Haley Pettit,
Lissa with no last name, Joseph Pittman, Carla T, Sylvia Ashley Arnold, Lisa Alexander, Ashley Bertram, Andrew Webb, Cynthia Pocon, Jill Bosergi, Julia Lumio, Samantha Krause,
good problem there.
Madeline Wynn, Danae Littlefield, Rachel Boyers, Emily Sophia, Tiffany Mangabat, Alex Bohm, Amy Kazier, Jesus, Dean Kerrigan, Tyler Bourgeois, Taryn with no last name, Dark187, Joe Calaccio, Eileen Castle, Jess Miller, Kelsey Hansen, Morgan Reichenbach, Cassandra Foley, Sarah Marquez, Stephen Thomas, Ashley McLean, Alicia Bodley, Jeff and Megan Perry. Oh, they're in fucking Idaho. Love you both.
Hey.
Sierra Watterson, Andrea Strapulos, Reese Martinez, Alexa with no last name, Josh Cooperman, Jennifer Lowe, Alyssa Zach, Jamie Holes, Marie Rucker, Azra Kennedy, Christy Lee Hoare, that's real, Halston Reed, Zach Onion, Josie DiBiase, I fucking hope so, Sandy with no last name, Tony P. Michael with no last name, Amy Rhodes, Xander Avery, Amanda Hurt, Matthew Schrack, Chuck Martin, Carly Baumgartner, Heather Weir, Christine Mann, Chris Collier, Tanner Terry, Lottie Ridgers, Elizabeth Alcott, Laura Anderson, Megan Jackson, Jude Bordelon, Kelly Whittington. Fuck. That one broke me. Richard Brockman, Sean Stimpert, Doyle Massey, Jennifer Lowe, Jay Rad, Stephanie Vaught, Evan with no last name, Yifan Zhang, Bryant Tito Rivera, Lawful G, David Willingham, Chris Parker, Glenn Prosser, Aaron Roberts, B. Sizzle, Seth Sampson, Kyle James, Catherine Case, Leah Heeger, Candace Madden. Damn it. Jennifer Beatles, Rhina Kibler, Greg Paquette, Brooke Fail. She fails a lot, evidently.
No, poor Brooke.
Me too.
Fuck up, Brooke. You can do it.
Brooke, you fuck up.
You can do it, you Brooke. Don't fuck it up, Brooke.
Terrell with no last name. Jasmine Karanen. Victoria with no last name. Haley Pearson Cox. Tim Bailey. Heather Lawson. D. Nice. Christopher Swanson. Rachel Krumenauer. Chad Monroe. Misty McLaughlin. Sam Myers. John Sardo. Corby Swenson. Perla Richardson. Jennifer Shoppy. Keely Powell. Natasha Woodruff. Dion Standley. Tyler Ray Hawkins. Julia Galazaka. Michelle Sanderson, Carmen Hawes, Jackie Brown, Laura with no last name, Allison Napier, Amy Nix, Nicole with no last name, Adam Zach, Doug McCoon, Dr. Sarah Whitty, Gigi with no last name, Melinda Galladay, fuck. Jessica Richter, Sarah McCold, Sophie Johnson, Amy with no last name, Greg Faluna, Michael Duncan, Katie Wika, Desiree Werlinger, Jan Roth, Donna Cherisis, Pinky Lane, Cecilia Salguero, Brandon Harris, Terry Davids, Lucas Phillips, Marathon Running Catholic Mom of 7, what is this? Quanta Chipopomus?
I really hope that's what it is.
I think that's what it is. Carrie Reese, Hannah McAfee, and Amanda Knock, Luigi with no last name, Cameron Sophies, Brendan Borky, Mama J, Jason M, Denise Hogue, Finley Todd, Carol with no last name, Kyle Urich, Lori Howell, Michael Matthew Hine, Lisa Cunliffe. What? I don't want. Nope. I'm moving on. Maggie Rodabaugh, Steve Robertson, Ariana Castillo, Evan Gallagher, Michael Rush. Sheila Case, Fraser Henderson, the Maury Dennis Farina. The Maury one, though. Farina. Dennis Farina. Isn't that a fucking actor?
He's an actor, to God. Yeah. He's been an actor for 40 years. He was on Law & Order for a while. Yeah.
Dead as fuck. He's amazing.
He's dead now, yeah.
The Mayberry one. That's the one. Rachel Darby, Tiffany A., Sarah Amador, Michelle Meaner, Sarah Goldfarb, Luke with no last name, Natalia Villarreal, Grace Ashforth, David Murphy, Zach Gallardo, Riley with no last name, Bixby B., John Williams, Jennifer McVetti, Richard Lamoureux, Jorge Martinez, Sam Yuljuice. What? Yuljuso? That's gross. Haley Wersinski, Duniger, no last name, Craig Finella, Nora Welsh, Gretchen Schneider, Fred Schumacher, Emily Anderson, Luis Kleinmott, Kristen Hage, Matthew Nickel, I think, Quinny and Sean, Casey with no last name, Michael Morris, Ian Larch, Emily Williams, Cameron Gilmore, Myris Pietragallo. Myris? Do you know a Myris?
I do not.
Well,
I have no clue. Maybe they're stealing. Are you stealing my name? No shit.
Sean Moore,
Pietragallo,
Sydney with no last name, Tony with no last name, Sunshine's and Andy Giannis, Nicole Woodcock. Boy, oh boy. Brandon Wellis, Jack Teffrey, Joseph Petrie, Heartsick Design, Alex Steffens, V with no last name, Cody Woodkey, Clint Stocks, Rebecca Rockcliffe, Thomas Serrano, Jeremy Miller, Joe Ruggiero. I'm so sorry. Mary Kidd, Melissa Sotlace, Andy Wilburn, Leah Burgess, Pterodactyl, Lexi Bryant, Tracy Graves, Mandy Porter, Nicole Lucille, Trevor Succo, Ben Churchill, and every last patron. Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Honestly, that was incredible. Thank you for it all, and we can't thank you enough, man. We can't. We're humble and we're blown away by that shit. So thank you.
Thank
you for telling your friends.
Thank you for making it.
You're a part of it.
Possible to heal James because we can get him to a doctor.
Absolutely.
All of this stuff is because of you guys.
Someday.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, you guys are the best. We can't thank you enough for changing our lives and being a part of this, and keep being a part of it. Tell all your friends. If you want to find, who gives a shit? Just look up Small Town Murder Podcast.
Yeah.
You can find us on social media that way. We're the hosts. There's only two of us, and there's only one show called that. So
we won't beg
find us and do it. No. And keep coming back week after week. Tell everybody you know. Keep coming back. Spread it around. And
cough us in somebody's face.
And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.